just been slinging ass since I was 17 years old.
Really?
You can't make me respect that. Okay, and I'm to me, you're not going to turn the White House into Waffle House. Okay, we're
You
not
know
doing that.
what? I saw somebody do that meme. I gotta go back and find it and send
Okay,
it to
so
you.
no, well,
Waffle House.
well, no, what you know, because everything goes on in Waffle House. Okay,
Everything.
I need silence from my panel. Welcome, MFM, to everyone. This is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. We haven't done one of these conversations with an elder. This is the Woke Confessions of a Black Boomer. I will be speaking with Mr. Jackson, who's somewhere in the deep south, and he's not coming on camera in order to continue to get jobs because, and I know personally now that I'm getting it, Social Security is not enough to live on, so your ass has to keep working, which is another reason why I love deportation. We need those jobs at Walmart and McDonald's and everywhere else where we can get a few dollars to rub together because inflation is still kicking our ass, although Donald Trump won with an electoral college landslide. I have two guests. They don't have to give their names. I think one is a public service employee. I don't want them to lose any benefits. And I may say something about trans, whatever, people, dick sucking people, or vagina licking women. And I don't want them to get into trouble. And I'm not upset about people licking vaginas. I have a lot of studs in my family. That's probably why I don't hang with them. But I owe my life, I always say, to my great aunt that was a stud that saved my grandfather's life from the lynch mob. That's my favorite stud. You know, what's a song by uh, Marvin Sapp? So I'll say that tribute. Never would have made it without you. I would have lost it all. My grandfather would have been burnt to a crisp, and there would be no Dr. Randy Short because my grandfather's stud sister decided, you black men ain't shit. I ain't gonna help you. You shouldn't have killed that white man, right? The way black men are today. But thank God my stud great aunt that looked like Dick Van Dyke with the Daisy Dukes ponytail saved my grandfather's life. So be nice to the gay people in your family. You don't have to agree with them and you don't have to celebrate the bullshit, but you never know when you might need them. And as much as folks will criticize the personal life of James Baldwin, he took care of his entire family. So, because gay people get paid because they're not reproducing, they get all the money in our communities. So, you need to learn how to work this out until straight black men stop hating on each other for being straight. Isn't it amazing? Nobody wants to get screwed in the ass or do blowjobs, but yet you hate the next guy that's straight. Black men, we're a fucking mess. And sisters, I'm going to get to your asses later. Anyway, in the great greetings of the Angry Black Men's Book Club, MFM, MFM, MFM. Put your fist up. Yes, we want reparations. We want our motherfucking money. I don't care which party gives it as long as they do it quick, fast, in a hurry. Pretty damn quick. We need our reparations. Now, tonight's topic again. Tonight's topic is the confessions or woke confessions of a black boomer. We have an educated boomer that was in all the different movements, was in major urban centers during this great period of change. And we're going to talk to him everything from coming up during the boomer era. They're kind of the generation that fucked us all up, but they're still here, you know. So we have to figure out what they got wrong and what they got right. He's a good boomer. Like I said, this is the woke confessions. This was one of the boomers that was trying to do the right thing. And so if you have a bunch of geriatric members in your family, all the kind that believe the jab was like was like living water from Jesus, he's not that type. So he's sort of a precursor to the ones, you know, I'm an Xer. And then for you guys, the millennials and Z's, and then you sorry ass ones that like Sexy Red, born after 2000. And so, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about culture and everything else. And then, of course, I don't want to give the name. One person is a politician and a conservative politician at that. So I don't want to lose and get anybody in any trouble. And then the public service employee whose name I'm not going to mention. They're a distant cousin of mine. We have like a grandfather who was throwing semen around like wetting rice and shit. And so I do genealogy and I'm constantly meeting cousins, and there are these low down snake in the grass, Johnny Appleseed people. They were having their own kind of creek offs back in the day, but it was one at a time. And they left children. They weren't like Diddy getting folks, having abortions and such. So she's on, and I haven't talked to her in a long time. And so without further ado, hello to everybody. Brother Mark, I want to thank you, moderators. Sister Devin, I want to thank you, moderators. I want to thank everybody that's listening. I would be doing StreamYard. And by the way, I want to thank all of you again. This is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. One of the reasons I don't do this as often, aside from being sick, is my neighborhood is having the shit gentrified out of it. And they've thrown up all these concrete buildings that fuck with the internet signal. And just the reception is so bad, it gets worse and worse, alongside the fact I get harassed by the intelligence agencies because people think I work for the government of Iran. And like I told the FBI agent, if this is James Bond's life, how does he afford the pussy and the casino trips? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm nobody's damn spy. You go through my damn emails and shit. You know it's not. So what are you calling me for? So people bother and stuff. I've been through this many a times, the CIA and other people. And, I've been asked to write an article and publish a video and send it to Iran. I'm worried about doing it. No matter how I do it, I'm going to get in more trouble with the CIA and the other people. And I don't want to get picked up as some agent if the United States goes to war. So pray for me. And I'm not saying I want anyone killed. I've never called for anyone to bomb anyone, but just being black, saying anything other than yes, massa, and did I clap it fast enough for you makes people mad. All right. So I want to say this. Again, this is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. I believe this is the 16th day of November 2024. And you need to know on Friday, it will be, what is that, the 65th? No, the 62nd anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. And I know you remember that, my boomer brother.
Oh
And,
yeah.
but I also want to remind everyone, if you love this channel, and if you understand, I bought a Ryuko. I'm so mad. I had to spend $200 so I can like get a damn signal in here, because that's why I haven't done as much. You can spend hours trying to get a signal. And so someone said it's the 61st anniversary. Okay, 61st, 62nd. Look, I'm not a mathematician. In fact, as broke as black people are, none of us are. So if you got a better number than I do, let's run with it. Man, nigga trying to sass me up in here. And he's from California too. I hope you have an earthquake. Try to fade me up in here. Anyway, this is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. Everybody is welcome to share this. Uh-oh, I lost someone. Hold on one second. They're back.
Here.
Yeah, white man to you, sister. We're still here.
I am
And
here.
if you like this channel, subscribe, share it. And yes, I'm living victoriously. And pretty soon we're gonna do another show. I can't wait. We will be doing Black Dicks Matter. And we'll be talking about prostate cancer, and I can talk to you about these people trying to sterilize me. And for God I live, and for God I die. And you can put my dick in there too. Nobody sterilizing me to fight prostate cancer. You can't stick me in my ass and then make me take pills and grow titties and have hot flashes. I may as well be RuPaul and shit. Although I don't like makeup, so nah, I'll pass on that. Hormone therapy, research that shit if they're trying to push that to you. The doctor lied to me. You are not killing my sperm. I love them. I mean, one of them could be just like me if it hits the right target, especially if it doesn't have fecal matter in it. Hint, hint. And so I'm here. For all of you that watch Salt Ministry, when I'm not using foul language and I'm talking about God, when you really don't like me, when I start talking about thou shalt not and who you can't screw and why you shouldn't get high, If you don't like the cussing, you really won't like me when I'm reading the Bible. So
Mm.
you don't like me if I'm talking like a person in the hood. You really won't like me like a person speaking from a pulpit. But for those, we will do a salt ministry thing this Sabbath. Last Sabbath I had to cancel, and the topic will be message to the black woman. Oh yes, we've got to get you whole straight. My advice to everyone: if you see someone bald headed, please don't have sex with them, especially if they're a woman. I mean, if you want to be that long, alone that bad, please. And a lot of them are ugly, shaving their head off, which is a lot of help. I mean, because who wants to get with someone you think is in chemo? I don't want a fucking copay and a pain in the ass person too. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. So let's calm down and let's calm down. So um, a message to the black woman. It'll be from the Bible. And we talk about how we need to clean this stuff up. The Jezebel spirit has to go. And everybody knows that we do Pat Talk. That's on our necks. On our necks is the channel on YouTube. And everybody knows I HATE feminism, but I don't like brother fuckers. I don't like men that mess over women. I don't like women that mess over men. I do think Kevin Samuels was a Jesus figure. Somebody needs to mute themselves making all that noise on my platform. Um, thank you. And last but not least, I need to remind everybody, please donate to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like it, share it. People absolutely hate what I talk about. Remember, I was talking about COVID and they took the channel down and they messed with me on Twitter because I've been having fun with Come Swallow, which was fun. And no, I don't respect her. Oh, Sister Star. Sister Star, don't contribute. Somebody other than Sister Star give me one. This nigga's making me feel like I'm a crooked Negro preacher. Every time you turn around, you get a donation. I, I don't believe in tithing. You give if you can. If you don't, pray for me. Also, I'm going to try to do it this week, especially, I got my cannabis gummies. And we're going to celebrate me becoming a pothead to fight prostate cancer. I believe maybe on, I'm going to try to figure out which day to do it. It may be Friday. I have to go in and see my Jewish gynecologist. I think he also wants me to have titties and hot flashes. I have to explain to him. Um, Nobody would believe that I was taking medicine to fight prostate cancer. They saw me with titties. They would think I was trying to be a tranny, especially being my age and not being married. So that's too risky. Y'all agree with me? No hormone therapy. And you get needled in your ass every month. I have a problem with that. Someone being behind me sticking me. Nah. I never liked Diddy. I could have gone to a Diddy party. I refused. And I'm never going. And I don't like doctors sticking stuff in your behind. By the way, I was told I have to get suppositories and such. Uh, Pray for you. Pray my strength in the Lord in these last and evil days. They're always trying to emasculate black men. I mean, they're trying to get you behind for a colonoscopy. I had a gay colorectal surgeon who spent like an hour and a half. I was told to take 15 minutes. When I woke up, it was almost 2 hours. I was mad. And the doctor says, oh, he was looking at me. It was like, okay, I'm going to be calm. Plus, they had that thing in your mouth and shit. It was something. But you do need to get your assholes checked out. Brothers, look out for your prostate and um and save your sperm. Don't do hormone therapy if you can help it. I will be talking about that. So we're gonna have to do an updated show. I'm gonna get Brother Marlo, and we're gonna talk about Black Dicks Matter. We will be talking about black women needed to repent for being off code. You hoes voted in the same percentages for Come Swallow as you did for Hillary Clinton. The bitch still lost. At least pick a winner. I mean, it's the same way y'all pick people to procreate with. You pick the sorriest ass men, and you wonder why the kids in reform school when they're 4 years old. Because both of y'all were fucked up. Times two, the kids gonna be fucked up and early. These kids are shooting their parents when they're 4 and 5 years old. And people say, why so early? It's just because they didn't want to go to school. Anyway, support the channel. You can always email me if you have comments or questions. And screw you, StreamYard. We're going to get around this. DrRandyShort@gmail.com is both my personal email, and I respond to people most of the time. It's a personal email, it's a PayPal, it's a Zelle. DrRandyShort@gmail.com. The Cash App is $ Dr. Randy Short. The Venmo is Dr. Randy Short. The Patreon is Dr. Randy Short. Let's do all this again because I know black people are slow. Dr. Randy Short with a $ is Cash App. Dr. Randy Short is a Patreon. Dr. Randy Short is a Venmo. W. Randy Short is a PayPal, and it is a Zelle. You also can follow me on Twitter. I'm AngryBMBC on Twitter, or DRS1CBuster. I have others. I think they're trying to take that away, so I have multiples just in case. Of course, I think I have what's it, a fake book, and I have an Instagram. I don't mess with that because they constantly take it down because I piss people off, talking about things like Kamala was a slut, and she was, and we were stupid, and she's Indian, and I'm glad that maybe she can do telemarketing. She's good with her tongue and lips anyway. Now, I have my boomer. Boomer, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're not going to give your name. What would you have? Oh, we can call you Ray.
That's cool.
Okay. Ray, how old are you?
72.
You're 72 years old. Which metropolitan area or state were you born in?
I was born in the Bronx, but I was raised in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Before we get deep, and so let's just say, so you're in your 70s.
Yes, sir.
Who was president when you were born?
I think it was who was before Eisenhower?
Okay, Harry Truman. Okay.
Yeah.
Who was a Ku Klux Klansman at one point in his life. All right. We're going to have some fun because, I have a youthful audience, and we know how shallow our young people are, and you have taught, so you know how shallow young black people are. So we're going to do some stupid shit first, so we can bring our intellectually lazy young black people along who don't like going deep. And proof that we're lazy is that we're running around calling a person named Kamala. Cum? Who names a child Cum in America? Damn. And you said she's black and she has Caucasian on her birth certificate. That's sad. And we were shallow because her skin's brown. Seals are brown. Bats are brown. It doesn't make them black Americans. Nigerians are brown. It doesn't make them black Americans, but that's neither here nor there. We're shallow. So, and because you have a musical background, we can do something. We can talk for at least just to show people that we can relate to people who think the only greens they know about is the kind that you roll up and smoke. So, for all of you deprived, deracinated young people who don't like black history, that think we were picking cotton in the 60s and 70s, and the only cotton we were picking was let out your mother's groin. That's how you got here. we're going to talk a little bit about a subject that's near and dear to my heart: hip hop and music and Diddy. And we're not going to get into all the details, but I want to hear from a person so we can talk about music a little bit, because you lived in New York. So that means yes or no. Did you go to the Apollo Theater?
Yes, sir.
Who did you see at the Apollo Theater?
Oh, Red Fox,
Red.
The Temptations, James Brown, the Manhattans.
Mhm.
Uh, oh God, Fannie Lou Hamer.
Okay, Faneuil
Uh,
Hamer, who was with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee from Mississippi, from Ruleville, Mississippi, who,
uh,
okay, all right. Who else? Keep going.
I mean, because that was a staple. You know, we used to go there and check them out.
Oh.
And
And who would you say is the biggest person when you're coming up? From the late 50s into the early 70s, I guess, when you're in New York.
what
The,
music?
yeah,
Music.
who are some of the best people you can think of that was popular for Black Americans in New York?
It. You
Some of
put
your
me on the spot.
favorites. Some of your favorites. Come on, just give it up.
Okay. Let me give you a funny story. I went to see in Brooklyn. There was a theater called the Brevoort Theater,
Okay.
and James Brown used to perform there.
Okay.
And his show used to be $1.
$1 to see James Brown.
See James Brown.
And you know how
Over
much
here.
people pay to see Beyonce now?
Oh God.
$1,200. $1,200. Do you think inflation's increased that much?
So let me tell you a funny story. We were standing outside of the theater, me and my friend Edmund Felix, and James Brown came up in his limousine. So we went in. Now we didn't have any money. So what we did, we went and collected bottles, because you can get 5, and we went into the show. Man, it was such a show. It must have been about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So I came out of the show and told my older brother, my senior brother, hey, you got to see James Brown, man. You got to see James Brown. And he was a Motown head.
Well,
And there's all James Brown does is scream. So I gave him the money.
Wait a minute. So your brother said what about James Brown?
All James Brown does is scream. See, what happens, you had 2 waves of immigrants. You had in New York, you had the Southerners that like Joe Simon, Solomon Burke, that Wilson Pickett, and then you had the younger people who liked the Temptations, the sound of the young America. So when you would go down the street and you go to certain parties, you pass by houses and you could listen to the music that they were playing, and you say, "Oh, that's a down south party," or that's a so-called young people's party.
Now, let me pause for a minute and ask you, what were the tethers? What were the Caribbeans listening to back then? Were they listening to same thing?
Yeah, because you got to remember that in the Caribbean, or the West Indies, as we used to call it, that's all they would get. They'd get a lot of the stations from Miami, and they were enamored with Sam Cooke. It's the same stuff.
So the Caribbeans didn't have their own sound or anything that they were doing in New York back then.
The older ones.
I'm talking about the young people that were Caribbean when you were coming up, first or second generation Caribbean, were not making anything like reggae or whatever. They weren't doing that. Is that what you're saying?
It was okay. The music that the people listened to, like, for example, you'd go to a party, and see, the parties would be very different. For example, if you went to an American party, it was straight, dancing. Now, if you were Caribbean parents, you would listen to the Mighty Sparrow. Let's say you give a party and you listen to James Brown, and then halfway through the party, then you listen to the Mighty Sparrow. See, the Caribbeans partied very differently than the Americans did, because when the Caribbeans partied, they partied with the whole family. So you may have an 80-year-old woman whining at a party, getting down at a party.
So wait a minute.
Yeah.
So they did not have this youth culture thing that was separate from the adults. The reason I'm asking you this is because we're gonna go into hip hop. I was just surprised you left out doo-wop. Doo-wop was big in New York. I mean, you don't remember doo-wop?
Well, doo-wop was very big, but it was bigger with the older, the people before me. Like for example, at my church, little Anthony, I went to Bethany Methodist Church, and it was around the corner from me, and a lot of people got married there. And Brooke Benton used to come and give concerts there, and little Anthony got married there. And, we would all just bum rush the wedding. We couldn't get into the reception, but we bum rush the wedding. He'd speak to us. And so a lot of people came through. It was very different.
Okay.
It was very.
So now, you were also there in New York. So let's do some things. Exactly 60 years ago, this past summer, you had riots in Rochester and in Harlem. I don't know if you had any riots in Brooklyn. Did you?
We
What happened?
Huh?
What happened, if you can go back, because we want to give people perspective. So you were about 10 years old when that happened, or 12?
Well, 12,
Okay.
Well, what happens is the same thing, a police shoot somebody and people would go off.
And let me ask you a question. So back then, if they shot even one person, the community would go off.
Yeah.
Isn't that different now, where the police can shoot lots of people and people don't do anything? It takes about 20 people before the community will get mad.
It's interesting.
And the reason I'm asking is, a lot of people say boomers are full of shit and didn't stand or fight nothing. But you're saying to me, one person gets shot, not necessarily killed, and the community would just go nuts when you were coming up.
Well, see, what happens is that, and not throwing any shade on you, what has happened is that a lot of these people read about the struggle, were never near the struggle. They were never near the Black community. Most of the people that I find that write about the civil rights movement, the student movement, those are the same people that when things were going on, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. They distanced themselves to it.
So you're saying that these are phony people that were not really there, that are now so they're perpetrating a fraud, and you're saying that a lot of the boomers get a bum rap from people that shunned you guys that were standing up back in the day.
Oh, well, see, what happens is that you mentioned Kennedy's assassination. Mm-hmm. I can remember being in my basement. I was home. I was sick that day. And I was hoping that he would pull through, because I could remember they said when they shot Lincoln, the problem was they were pushing around in his head trying to pull the bullet out. Mm. And I said, well, maybe they won't do that with Kennedy. And I guess they did. And I can remember a friend of mine threw another friend through a plate glass window because he was so angry over the shooting. See, the thing is, if people weren't on the ground, I listen I'm not going to mention this scholar, but he wrote this book, and he said he wrote a book on Stokely Carmichael, and he said he wanted to make Stokely Carmichael accessible to people, and he had all of the facts.
Well, wait a minute, but that guy is a Haitian, and so that's a non-Black American trashing a Trinidadian American. But go ahead.
Well, let me back up, because I have to kind of clear stuff. See, if you weren't born in New York, when you're born in New York, you're Black.
Mm-hmm.
All of this, you Caribbean, you this, you that, you this, you that, that's usually from Southerners. That's not from New Yorkers or people from New York particularly. Because what happens is that some of the most militant people, some of the most aggressive people were not born in New York.
Okay.
So when I hear people talk about the Caribbean this, the Caribbean that, I said, you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. I mean, these people are reading this stuff and living in the South. You see the jealousy, you see the hatred.
Okay, so you think it's jealousy or hatred that's going on when people talk about the delineation between different people in the United States.
Now, what's that?
Okay, see, do you think it's incorrect for people to delineate between who is what? Because their perspectives and their perspectives, not to question what you saw as an individual, but here in Washington, everybody's Black, but just as sure as my friend whose family's from Brooklyn that lives in Albany, when his daughter was at the University of Chicago, it was the international and foreign-born students that demanded to be separated from the Black American students.
Okay.
And hold on. Let me finish, because it's my show, but I'll let you talk. The same thing on the census. Black Americans didn't separate people out. The other people requested to be in separate categories from Black Americans. So these things have not come on an official level from Black people, but it has come on an official level from others, the same way you see a Caribbean day, and that's their day. You can go, but you're not one. You will not see a Black American day where other people wouldn't be, they wouldn't do it like that. So it would be Black and everybody come. If we do it, if they do it, it's specifically them. Even that happened when you were young. Go ahead. Now you can respond to what I'm saying.
Well, I hear this, and that's how I met you, when we were at Howard.
But let me remind you how you met me.
We were at one of the conferences, and let me.
But the African students at Howard were trying to use Black American students to get them into a conflict with the faculty, use them, and then betray us and go behind that. That's the context in which I met you. In case you've forgotten, I'm very familiar with where I first saw you and all of that. And I didn't do anything to any of them. And I realized folks are trying to get me into a fight for another group of people who don't like me, don't want to have anything to do with, but say, let's use the energy of Black Americans and get them to fight the faculty, and then pull the rug from under them and go and make a deal with the faculty behind their backs. There was a guy from Kenya. I know you know who I'm talking about. And I let him know that you're going to carry your own cross. I absolutely am not going to let you do little crooked Kikuyu politics with me. That's not going to happen. Now, if everybody's in it together, wonderful. If we're not, we're not. And that whole thing disappeared. They wanted to use, in particular, me for it. And in fact, lied on you. That's part of the problem you had at Howard. They made you out as a ringleader, in case no one told you. and I was told to
You
have
know,
nothing to
no,
do
no,
with you. So yeah, no, this is what's said. So they put it off on you in case you didn't know that. And I didn't say
no,
anything to you because I'm not trying.
I know
I
that.
don't
That's
try to. I
very
don't try to make stuff happen. I try to diffuse stuff because I'm an odd person out. I don't fit into crowds, and there's and me and stupid people. I'm a racist against stupid people. I don't want to breathe the same air. I believe stupid people should sit in the back of the bus. I don't think stupid people should be able to drive a bus. Should have fewer accidents. I would like for stupid people to not have to get to go to class with smart people. Now, if you're stupid and you want to be smart, if you want to sell out to intelligence and thinking, you should be accorded every means to stop being stupid. But if you're proud of being a dumbass black person or dumbass whatever kind of person, stay the hell away from me. But I just need to say
yes.
that to you. Those people told everyone that you were the ringleader of all the problems and that you wanted to meet me to draw me in the middle of this thing. And so I heard this from the international people. So they're going to get you and me in a fight and didn't say anything to you about it until this moment because I'm not in it. So, and you and I were both in an international program dealing primarily with Africans. So, and by the way, whether you want to admit it or not, Africans were favored over Black Americans at Howard in our program,
Oh yeah,
definitely. In
yeah,
every way, they were
yeah, yeah.
favored, were treated better,
Oh,
and so forth. And the Africans weren't required to learn one thing about Black people in a 9, 10 year PhD program. You're required to learn everything about Africa, nothing about you. Everything in Africa is better. Africans are smarter. Africans know this. I'm not saying Africans aren't brilliant, whatever, but you mean we don't have nothing? That basically answers no, no, you don't. And if you really want to understand who you are, you need to know us. You can't know yourself unless you know us. We don't need to know you because you're a degraded version of
can I
us.
add something to that? What you have in education, most of the people who go to college are not grassroots people. These are the people that have been rejected all of their lives. And now they come into this, just like, remember, I was telling you, I said, when I went to Howard, I wore a shirt and tie every day. And I said, the people in administration who did me the worst were Black Americans.
Okay, now which type of black? Hold on. Which type of Black Americans? Because that's also important. What's the demographic? What's the demographic? What's the demographic of Black Americans that treated you poorly?
From DC.
No, specifically, who at Howard? What was the personnel?
The ones, okay, here's the thing. The personnel that helped me the most were foreigners.
Okay, hold on. All right, so the personnel that helped you the most were foreigners. I asked you a specific question, which you're ducking. What kind of Black American was not helping you at Howard?
The ones from Washington, D.C.
But what kind? There are different types of people in Washington. I don't want to interrupt you, but let me.
The people
was it?
Who, number one, don't like Black people.
Hold on. Were they the Black sisters at Howard, or were they Black men at Howard?
It was both. I'd have to say
who's
both.
Primarily, if you had to give a number, I'm not talking about faculty, but when you go through, who are you dealing with that does most of the labor in a lot of these institutions?
And I'll give you a name, Miss Mahaffey.
Miss Mahaffey, that was a woman.
Yes.
Okay. Who else?
Oh, the lady in financial aid.
Lady in financial aid. There's two women. Keep going. Now, we know the faculty is crazy. Professors are always off. And we know in African studies, everyone's going to be male with the exception of what? Zaudi. So we got that. So outside of the department, now, who else? Two women, I'm waiting for the man that's standing in your way. And I'm not saying that they don't have jacked up men there, but
Oh,
who
the one
black who black and
from
men?
Mozambique, the one from Mozambique,
Mozambique, he's a
the
foreigner.
one from
You you
well,
you said
I mean,
Black American, Black American.
yeah,
I'm keeping you
and the head
consistent.
part,
Black
and the head
Americans
of
that
the
stood
department
in your way, you gave me two
was
females.
the,
There's a reason I wanted to get a breakdown because I can tell you that this whole culture of disrespect, this pork chop feminism, this sorority, and this Jezebel garbage, which festers at HBCUs and in the black culture, isn't reflective of all black people, but a type. And some of the people that screwed you, if
oh
they
God,
are, if they're black American and male, they're likely to be boule. Mahaffey, I don't think it's boule. Mahaffey's just, a rundown Southern Florida type, or Central Florida, orange picker type sister, who had,
yeah,
who knew about all the screwing going on by the different faculty people. But you've only given me two women that are black and American, and
well, see,
I'm gonna
again,
jump on you
I,
because black American men tend to say black people, and they don't say which black people. Are they Boule? Are they Prince Hall Mason? Are they High Yellow? Are they Roman Catholic? Are they Greek? I mean, some of this stuff seems to run in a pattern. And we didn't say black people. No, everybody black isn't standing in my way. I have found a type of person. They tend to almost hang in packs. So you gave me Miss Mahaffey, you gave me someone else. Who else?
Tom,
And
Cummings
Cummings, he's Greek.
was head of
Okay.
the department. Well,
Greek. No,
see,
no,
look,
it's a
Randy,
type. It's and
listen,
when the people become Greek, they basically they're black when they need to be, and they're Greek when it comes to opportunity and so forth for our people. You get where I'm coming from.
I'm with you one.
That's so yeah, because I could tell you I've had some crazy experiences, but I learned something, and that's a failing I must say of the boomer generation. The boomer generation never checked the boule. In fact, it took power on y'all watch, and my generation, my God. Now these other young ones need to understand when you're going through
Can I
life.
interject something?
Go
Can I
ahead, go
interject
ahead,
something?
go ahead.
And it will make a lot of sense. I don't know. This is why I was kind of, you know, I never heard of the Greek organizations growing up until I started teaching at the university. I
Which
didn't know
university, black or white universities?
the black one.
Okay, and so the black universities are the bastion of the divine
We,
swine. Okay.
we never had, listen, I did not know. If you take now through the Cosby Show, everybody knows about the sororities and the fraternities. I did not. You take the average New Yorker my age that did not go south, that did not go to college in the South, they know nothing about these people.
But you know about the Masons. You definitely have those up north.
And Randy, let me tell you something. In the cities, we don't go on that.
Hold on. Let
My
me clarify.
and
Okay, your father.
my father and grandfather were Masons, and I just found that out recently.
Okay, because it's a
That
secret.
means
It's a secret society, meaning
that
that which
nothing in New York
which
among
means
New York.
you
Now
didn't
it does.
you didn't know what was going on while it's
We
going
did
on. It's sort of
while
like
it's
when
going.
Neely Fuller says, if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, everything will be confusing to you. If you don't know about boule, betrayal, and treason and backstabbing of the Divine Nine and the black people in these secret societies and cult groups, then you won't understand the great dysfunction that black Americans have.
Well, yeah,
So, I mean,
I
every
mean,
time when I see something
yeah,
incredibly crazy and nasty and twisted, and I'm saying, is that us? because I'm looking at skin color. I've learned not to do that. My first thing is, what's their affiliation? What's their membership group? What's their reference group? Who do they hang with? Who are they? Are they first generation, second generation? What's doing that? Because a grounded Black American who has some idea of who or what they are might be circumspect on certain things at least. I'm not saying everything because we ain't perfect people, but certain things I look at that and says, I know goodness well. I know what that person is based on what they did. I can watch a case, not that Donald Trump is Black, but each time I would see things being done specifically to him and folk yelling at him, I knew that person was Divine Nine. Because the average Black American person is very circumspect that I'm out here standing. I can, not that you don't have brave people that stand up, that people are going to come at you if you take a stand. You have to have a force of people behind you for you to act and do certain things.
Yeah.
And therefore, I can look at that and I can watch Jesse Jackson say, all these people just, it's hard as hell to get Black people to coalesce. How all these people, this guy isn't that such a great speaker. He's good, but a lot of people do. How does this person get so much? And it's that same thing. Now, this person, Brother Mizell, he's from New York. He's a little younger than you and a little older than me, I suspect. Said he disputed you. He said that in New York, the Jamaicans called the Black Americans Yankee.
Where did he grow up in New York?
Mizell, you're out here. Mizell, where did you grow up in New York? I think he lived in Harlem,
Where?
but I'm going to let him tell me.
I can't hear.
Okay, Rodney, you said New York is okay. He lived in North Bronx. Yankee.
Totally different.
No, so
Totally
wait a minute. So then let's revise what you said. In Brooklyn, where you lived, everyone was Black, more or less, based on what you saw and perceived as a young person, a person coming of age. And I can believe that. Now, this brother in New York, Mr. Mizell, who shares being in the Plantation of Islam with you and other things, said that where he lived in the North Bronx, they did make you aware that you were American and Black and were not one of them. And I, living in Washington, I was taught everyone was Black. Living in Virginia, we're all Black people. Wherever the people come from, everyone's Black, right? I'm not mad. Wait a minute. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm getting this from Mr. Gerald. Big facts from Brooklyn all the way up to the South Bronx to Yonkers. Black Americans get hated by Blacks of other places. Maybe they're a different age grouping from you, sir. But what I learned early on from Barbadians and others, that they were not similar to Black Americans. Not that I believe that, but this is what you're hearing from them. Okay, not everybody, but often. And my connection is through the university, through Howard, meeting people who did not identify with us, except for under the banner of Pan-Africanism, in which Black Americans are to be subordinate to Africans and Caribbeans. Okay, and I'm not. Look, I don't hate nobody. I'll tell anyone. One of the people that helped raise me, it's a Jamaican woman named Agnes Campbell. I love Jamaican food. I love Miss Campbell and her daughter Vera. We went to church. I just assumed, hey, look, there's Black people from the islands. I thought we're one, but I learned from other people, oh no, we're not. And I kept being told we're not. not by Black Americans as much as by people from other places. Now, Black folks tell jokes and this, that, and the other, but um, again, my world wasn't inundated with stupid Black Americans. Stupid ass slum people are everywhere. But so every culture has them. But so let's we can come back to this and we can have more of these conversations and we
Yeah.
can just deliberately do that. Yeah, but no, I love Jamaican food. I love rice and peas. My mother's very jealous of Agnes because I wouldn't eat my mother's boring American food, but I love coconut to this day. I mean, I like coconut oil. I like anything. I curried chicken tonight. Yes, I did. My mother ate. I had curry chicken. I love the cuisine. And I liked a lot of stuff. And I get that people are different. But let's come back to music.
Okay.
Because next time we can have a list, we can have more woke boomer conversations. But just know my younger audience, brother, we need to have this conversation because some of you older Black people don't know how mad younger people are. And I'm an Xer. People think I'm a boomer. They think I'm anti-delineation. I'm sort of a little like you and a lot like them. But they look and see the white hair and say, well, you don't know shit, you're old. No, I get it. I was getting disrespected by foreigners before you guys were born. So for all y'all making comments, but I'm not mad. And by the way, there were some really cool radical Caribbeans and Africans. There were always some. So I'm not trying to paint and trash. I'm very careful with people. Okay. My father brought us up to respect people throughout the Black world, right? And particularly, my dad was fascinated by Haiti and Haitians. As the first thing my dad ever did was teach us about Toussaint Louverture and how Black people fought back and how Haitians won. And my dad, even though my dad was conservative, was so proud of Haitian people. My dad said a Haitian person just want to touch him because Haitians fought back. So I wasn't brought up, oh, you're from another country, you're dirty, you're bad, you eat cats and dogs. It's not that this stuff is like shocking to me that we're acting this stupid. Even if a
Yeah.
person's in the country unlawfully and you don't want them here, we can do better than that. We can look for things other than uh, ad hominem attacks. If you're not here lawfully, uh, then you shouldn't be here. And if you
What
want to
I
be,
would,
hold on,
what
hold,
I would,
what was
like,
that say?
I've heard this stuff from the younger people. Y'all didn't do this. Y'all did. I just let them. Usually, who said it? Was it? They said if you're not a radical at 20, something's wrong with your heart. If you're still a radical at 40, something's wrong with your head. I forgot who said that. But what happens, you find a lot of people now that they walk around with the locks
Mm-hmm.
and the afros. We would get arrested for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. No,
We would
so
get arrested for having a pick in our hair. So,
you could
it's interesting.
you could get arrested for sagging. A lot of things that people do now, people have no idea
Oh, yeah.
how
So,
how different stuff is. Uh, I always try. This is why I want to have you on. Remember when Black people didn't come on TV?
yeah,
Okay, you
when
mean
black person, we used to gather around people's, let's say, if Ed Sullivan,
mhm,
I'll give you another funny story. Mary McCabe, she did Pata Pata.
right?
It was big in the parties, basement parties. And we were very excited about when she did the clicks.
Hmm.
So we were imagining how she looked. Oh, this girl must be fine. And I can remember I think it was on Merv Griffin. We all gathered around to see her.
Hmm.
It was a black and white little television, about 9 inches. And we walked away like zombies. The only thing we could say was, she's pretty, but she's bald headed because she had an afro.
Hmm.
Because her perm, she had to cut her hair because of the perm. The perm wasn't taken. So, and everybody, oh man, she's bald headed. And I can remember telling a friend of mine, because she came in years ago, if you wore a small afro, that meant you were on welfare because you couldn't.
So an afro meant that you were broke.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
now you know what's interesting? Then it became a point if you didn't have an afro, you couldn't afford a blowout kit.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
or you were too white to get your hair like that.
yeah.
So I remember when the afros came in. My hair. The best I could do is let my hair mat up. I can't get an afro. I tried. I did to let my hair clump up. That's the best I could do. My cousins had nice afros. The best I could is the shit I have now, which just just let it grow. But and it was embarrassing when you couldn't get. But yeah, I remember.
Red. Let me tell you a funny story. When I had an afro, it was a little afro.
You had
A
an
little
afro. I can't imagine you with the afro. You look like you are going to a Diddy party. You with the afro. I'm glad I've
And
never seen that. I'm glad I didn't see you with the afro.
if you saw, let me see, if you saw Eddie Kendricks,
Yes.
we had the little afros and the part was cut in it.
Yes, the part was cut in. Yes.
The part was cut. And I can remember Joe. I used to go to the barber, and the barber's name was Joe Lynch. And when I started growing afros, because they didn't know how to cut the afro. They didn't know how to cut the afro. And he used to run, he'd say, "Nigga, I'll cut that nappy head of yours." And I used to have to run by his barbershop. Because he grabbed me. He said, "I'll cut your hair for free." The guy who perfected the cutting the afro was a guy named Frenchie. You know where he was from?
Tell
Frenchie. Haiti.
Okay.
He was the one that perfected how to cut the afro. And everybody used to go to Harlem to get their hair cut by Frenchie. Then another guy, his name was, just when I mentioned Tracy. He was a black Muslim. He picked that up and started doing it in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So it was.
Mm-hmm. And let me pause. And let's. You just brought up something interesting. When you were coming up, did black folks have an issue with black Americans have an issue with people from Haiti?
No.
No. Just last come up, just people from Haiti. You respect people from Haiti kicked ass against the whole world. We just thought Haitians were.
We didn't call them Haitian. We called them Frenchies.
Well, you call them Frenchies. I'm younger than you are. You call people Haitians.
Yeah, we call them Frenchies.
And now we heard about voodoo and all that, but you figure you have to use what you gotta use.
I never heard.
You never heard about because there was less black. Let's deal with this. This is a contradiction, and this is what these people don't get. I came up with there was more. Okay, you're born what 1952?
Yeah, 52. Yeah.
You're born 52. So you're 13 years older than I am.
Yeah.
But you and I both know that when you were 2 years old, no, not when you were 2, but when you were 5, 6, they had the Nat King Cole show.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Nat King Cole show was not allowed to survive. With the biggest vocalist in the world couldn't make it just because he was black.
Yeah.
Okay, no matter what. No. Contrast that with me when I'm 5 or 6. You've got Julia.
Yeah, Julia.
Okay. With Diane Carroll. And you have a black TV show that's with the person most people don't know. People need to sit down. I'm going to go back and explain to you the dissonance that when Nat King Cole had his TV show, he'd already had, they had like In fact, Love Is a Thing was a #1 album of 57. This man had 4 or 5 #1 albums, maybe 6, because all of the King Cole trio things, they had 4 of them. They all went to like #1 on the hit parade. So King Cole had about 5 or 6 #1 albums. I mean, and then, I mean, some of the biggest songs, Mona Lisa, Too Young, and Nature Boy. I mean, that's a little bit before you, but you would have heard it.
Nuts roasting on
Yeah.
an
I mean, that's so. Yeah, all of these, but that's from the 40s, but it's still being played. Nat King Cole was second to Frank Sinatra worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be second and dark skin,
yeah,
back and be big, and to be in movies, and
you could. You couldn't have that.
No, but no, he made it. But
yeah, but
even with all of what he had in terms of selling, maybe 50, 60 million records, wasn't enough for him to get the backing to have a national show because of the time. And in that short, just about 10, 12 years between the time, we're born, you're born, and I'm born, you've got black TV shows. And so a lot of people can't imagine when they see a Fox and all these channels, you see black people on TV and all kinds of stuff, Beyonce and them getting lots of Grammys and stuff. That's now, I want to remind people, the #1 American vocal recording group, pop, is the Supremes. I think you remember the Supremes, right?
Yeah.
The Supremes were big, even if you guys didn't think they were black enough. Were they big?
Yeah.
They were huge. They never won a Grammy, ever. They did get maybe 2 nominations. 12 #1 records, 4 or 5 #1 albums. I mean, that's big now. I mean, back then when they wouldn't even play black stuff on the radio, things that were and the Temptations and others that were truly great, it wasn't good enough being great because you were black. Black took all the great away.
Tell them about Harry Belafonte when he did the special and touched.
Petula Clark. Yeah. All right, y'all. So when you look at the grace that Diddy's getting regarding Justin Bieber and all of this stuff, let me see. Do you know Melchizedek Shabazz? You were in the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, I know him.
I know you know Melchizedek. You were in the Black Panthers.
I worked with them.
You worked with the Panthers. You were part of the Brownsville Oceanside Black.
Yes.
Black. Okay. So yeah. So even though people listening to you, some of them are calling you coon, but you guys were raising all the hell you knew how to raise at that time. So I'm thinking every single solitary crazy thing that happened, you were a part of. Black Power, Black Pride, work with the Panthers. When most people ran from the Panthers in New York, the Panthers were not big in New York like they were in California and Chicago. They weren't as big. On top of that, the FBI and other people were much harder on the ones in New York.
They shot up the cops shot up the
headquarters.
The office on Nostrand Avenue.
Yeah, and you remember them shooting up the Black Panther headquarters.
Yes, I live right down the block.
You live down the block from where the FBI and them just shot up. Okay, so when see a lot of people when they talk to older people, I remember a friend of mine, or at least a guy I knew, was a reporter for a paper in Boston, and Anita Baker was doing a concert at the Boston Common, and the gentleman, the brother driving the car, stopped to let the guy out, and the policeman in Boston, this is like 1989, threatened to shoot all of us for the car stopping, and we knew, get out before he kills us. I mean, no crime committed. We weren't there long with just they could come, it just, and he would have gotten away with it had he shot all of us because uh, and we're like, the guy was trying to say, don't explain anything, don't get us killed. He wants to do it. Drive. He had his hand on his gun, is ready to pull it out and start shooting. I think you know what I'm talking about. A lot of other people don't really. It's just, I mean, and we're just in the car. Huh?
Let me give you some cautionary advice when you deal with young people. If you're trying to explain what one age went through, it's incomprehensible. Even today,
Yeah.
I cannot. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, I don't want people to believe me. I just want, we dropped a friend after church to do a story on Anita Baker, the singer, because she was big then. Giving you the best that I got, baby. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, right. And okay, I love that. That she was huge, and we weren't there 2 minutes. These people were mad that Anita Baker was getting attention in Boston and wanted to hurt someone. And this is like, wow, Jackson, wow, that's not too far away from up in Boston. Then remember, they needed police and all just to get the black kids to school because they burned buses and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get it. I know.
Randy, it's hard for the.
Sometimes
hard.
People have to. This is what I would ask of the younger people listening. The same way that you tolerate LGBTQ and all this other stuff and baby killing, try to show some understanding for people that are a little older. Don't say that you agree with how they handled it, but at least just hear it. Until you know what it's like, because I talk to people about growing up outside of DC, and you're old enough to remember the Nazi party that was here in the DC area when you were younger. Remember, what's his name? Rockwell. Rockwell, he used to go up to Harlem to see Malcolm X. The Nazis would go up to the events in New York with the Muslims. Well, Rockwell didn't live too far from where we lived, and it's just normal for people to threaten to kill you because you were black, and it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
I had a student, and when someone would get shot, and and I think you said, well, you don't get too upset about this stuff. I said, Randy, there was a lady called Eleanor Bumpers.
Yes, she had a dispute with the landlord. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cops came, and they blew her face off with a shotgun.
Yes.
In the projects. They shot a boy, I think it was Randy Glover. Mm-hmm. Randy Glover. They shot him because he asked, "Oh, who y'all looking for?" And he emptied his gun on him, and then he got off because he said he had an epileptic fit.
No, this is the 70s in New York. This is Mayor Koch's time.
Abe Beam before it was Abe Beam, Mayor Lindsay.
No, but this wasn't. Lindsay tried to get along.
Lindsay was good.
Lindsay, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I'm fair. I make my effort. I do not want anybody to walk away from anything I do, walk around with grudge and hatred in your heart towards whole groups of people. If there's a good person, I don't care what culture or what they look like, I'm going to tell you. Mayor Lindsay truly tried to, he made an effort to touch Black New Yorkers. I'm not going to say he was
And
perfect,
another one,
but he made an
and another
effort.
one that I want to also throw in Nelson Rockefeller.
Yeah, Nelson Rockefeller. But Nelson Rockefeller
The
also,
only
but
the
he
only
did,
thing that messed it
he
was the
did,
Attica thing.
no, but he did the Rockefeller laws that locked all the Black people up. So you got to hold them accountable. The Rockefeller laws were unfair. They're the precursor to mass incarceration laws for Black people. The Rockefeller laws
Rockefeller,
are
then again,
he,
Rockefeller sent a lot of kids to college.
yeah, I didn't say no, but for college, but
Yeah.
for the Blacks that didn't go to college, it's jail or college. And to
Oh
me,
yeah, well, yeah.
no, but we can do better than that.
No, I'm not. You know, see, the thing is, you want to be fair and look. You're going.
I didn't trash Rockefeller. I pointed out what Rockefeller did that was enduring, that's negative, that they've just recently resolved in the state of New York, and that's fair.
Yeah.
No, Biden picked up Cheryl Tunstall. The Biden and them, they expanded the Rockefeller laws and made it national.
Okay, well,
Now, Attica, yes, that's the issue. But we all know that Nelson Rockefeller died screwing on the desk in his office.
yeah.
Well,
And you know,
he died.
and you know,
He died coming and going.
Conchita Pierce. Conchita Pierce was the one who found. She was a Black reporter for NBC.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say no. Now let's go back to hip hop. Now we could talk about Diddy. Now you were around when hip hop started. You have a friend. What's your friend's name? Not Romeo. What's your friend's name? Elmo. It's close. Elmo, Romeo. Okay. So do you remember precursors to hip hop? I know you remember Aretha Franklin and all these other people. Do you remember when the Last Poets and these people began to do stuff that began to segue into rap music? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you think of rap music, at least the early rap music? Do you think it was worthwhile?
You know, it's, for me, that wasn't my era.
It's not your era. That's your way of saying that you'll pass. So you don't collect. You don't collect rap. You don't collect rap records.
Okay. Let me tell you what happened one time. I was coming home from work, and what they would do in Brooklyn, they would put the speakers. Mm-hmm. If you had a shop, they put the speakers on the sidewalk, and then they play the new record so you could hear it and you could buy it. Mm-hmm. So I was walking by this record shop, and I heard this boom, boom, boom. I saw that Chic. And then the guy started talking. I said, wow. And I went back and I bought the album. And I played it for a lot of my friends. They weren't impressed. They weren't impressed. And one of my friends said, this is going to be big. This is going to be big. Because I said, look how they walk and you know, talk. Now, the 5%ers, they used to have this thing up in Harlem. That's where the epicenter was. And then when they would talk and preach on the streets, and they would bang on the cars, they'd go, boom, boom, pop, boom, boom, pop, boom, boom, pop. And then they would so-called spit lines. I'll freeze your mind, the 32 degrees, because I'm God, so and so and so. Mm-hmm. And we used to kind of laugh at them. You know what I mean? I mean, they had it down.
Okay, so now you were in the Nation of Islam. How long were you in there?
I don't even remember, brother. I came in right after Malcolm.
So you joined in 65 or 66?
About 66.
Wow, so you were a teenager in the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, well, I was a...
You were angry, so you were angry, young, black man in New York?
No, see, the thing is, I wanted to do something. See, I was an activist.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and we're going to go back to hip-hop. So you remember when the drugs began to just get bad in New York?
Here's what happened. People were smoking weed. right? Everybody was smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did, they dried the weed up. So you could get, for $5, you could get 10 joints.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens, they dried the weed up and brought in skag. What do they call it? Yeah, skag.
Mm-hmm.
Skag was $2 a bag.
Mm.
Skag was $2 a bag. So
So
they
that's a
lowered
wrap
the weed.
there. Skag is $2 a bag.
It was $2 a bag. They put it in this little. So people who wanted to get high, who couldn't get weed, who couldn't find the weed, they said, "Man, this is even cheaper than weed."
Mm.
So they flooded the community with skag,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was nodding.
And this was after Malcolm X's assassination.
This was about because the young poet, not the young poets, last poets talked about it. Skag. You remember they did a thing called skag.
Now, I'm familiar with skag as a term. So tell me something. The heroin began to really hit Black New York after Malcolm X was killed. Do you think that Malcolm X's presence and what he was trying to do would have been a threat to people using New York as a means of? Okay. So the mafia, everybody wanted Malcolm dead. Let me ask you, do you think $100 million is enough money for Malcolm X's family to ask? Do you think $100 million is fair?
It's too little.
You say it's too little. What do you think it should be? I think it should at least be $500 million, and they've $500 million. You know what? I think they should give $1 billion to Malcolm X's family, just to. I mean, and that it's too late. It's too late, and it's too little. But $1 billion, they should give $200 million a piece. It should be tax free. They should repair that family. As you know, I introduced you to Malcolm X's grandson. They're still.
That ruined the whole generation.
Yeah, they're still killing people in these families. Still, $100 million is too little.
Betty. I worked with her.
You work with Betty. Okay.
Yeah, at Megan College. It was.
Yeah, isn't that terrible? $100 million. What an insult to Malcolm X. I'm not attacking the family, but what's his name? Crump. I think he knows he can get $100 million, and it shouldn't be easy to pay off for killing great leaders. It should hurt them as much as it's hurt us in the family. But let me get off of that. Let me get off of that. Let's come back to hip hop. Let's talk about Diddy for a moment. And let me just, for station identification, this is a little contentious. You have to like push up against boomers. They used to have in their way. But I'm Dr. Randy Short. This is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. I want to remind everyone, because my StreamYard, and that's what I said, please donate. I'm pissed. My signal, and this has happened on several platforms. It happened the other night when we were doing Pat Talk. They took us off. They took the host offline. We could hear it. He couldn't. So people don't like what we're talking about. You need to understand the internet is controlled by the intelligence agencies. They don't like what we're doing. Brother Mizell, I can put you in touch with Jackson. Anybody that wants, if I can't answer a question, hold it, Jackson. Let me finish. I'll bring you right in. Normally I let people talk, but this is kind of complicated. If you have a question that I can't answer through StreamYard, which is why when you donate, I've already ordered a Ryuko. I'm tired of this. So that way we can communicate. And I think what I'm going to start doing is trying to see if I can have a space in Twitter so we can communicate. I can take questions directly because we're going to get around this. So don't worry. But you can always email me at wrandyshort@gmail.com. Whether it's a book or an article or reference or someone that I'm talking to, If you want to communicate with them, you can write me, DrRandyShort@gmail.com. That's a personal email. I check. I write people back. People that know me tend to know. I write people back. I don't want to be rich and famous. I come from the generation of black people, as you know, Josh. Remember when you used to be able to call important black people and they'd take your call? I used to just call and
Yeah,
talk to Dick Gregory. I used to call
yeah,
and talk to C.T. Vivian. I used to call and
yeah,
talk to Wyatt T. Walker at Canaan Baptist Church. Some of the black people you call historic. I used to just call James Farr. I'd call anybody I wanted to black if you were serious. I used to talk to James Foreman. I mean, all these people you read about. I could call damn John Lewis. Yes, I call people if you wanted to talk to them. So I don't think that we're too good to communicate with each other. We become very stupid as a people. So I don't mind being at least accessible enough through email. So it's my personal email. If I don't get back, write a second time. I had a young guy. He wrote me and I got busy and didn't write him. And he came on something and started cursing at me. And I can't deal with that. I thought that was, and I told him, dude, I couldn't do that to Dick Gregory. Or for that matter, if I want to talk to Colin Powell and I had his number, I used to talk to Colin Powell. I got on his nerves, but hell, what you see is what you get. So and certain people I talk to over the phone, just a lot of people, they have like, they're clout chasing. I don't want to be celebrity. I don't want to be famous. I could do a hell of a lot more, spend more money, do all this kind of stuff. I want to be impactful more so than famous. Fame is very disgusting to me. If you look at what that stuff around Diddy's done, I don't like fame. Fortune, we all want some money. Fame, that shit's crazy. So you can email me if you have a question. If I'm not able to respond through these phones, I can't always answer your question. But if you email me, I can. Or if you send comments in the YouTube threads, as long as it's not stupid, because I'll just delete it. Like I said, I'm not trying to get a crowd. I've got 2,500 followers, which is half of my goal. I never wanted more than 5,000. If Jesus could get 5,000, and that was good enough for him, 5 is good for me. If I got more than that, okay. But to talk to a critical mass of people about stuff, that's enough for me. Okay. So you can email me if you think my stuff is sorry. And of course, I need to get a ban and all this other kind of stuff. I'll do it. But be glad I'm here. There's so many things that should have killed me in the last 3 years. I can't believe I'm here, so I'm here. But you can always donate. You can always subscribe. You can always share. The Cash App is Dr. Randy Short, $ Dr. Randy Short. The Patreon's Dr. Randy Short. The Venmo is Dr. Randy Short. And of course, the Zelle and the PayPal are wrandyshort@gmail.com. Do not worry. And people that cannot donate, don't worry. Pray that our people wake the hell up. I'm very
Can I say
interested.
something?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'm just having to put my
I
commercial.
want to.
Yeah.
I want to give props and shout outs to Dr. Short.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, because he, he asked me to do. He said, "Man, you should come on," and I resisted because what happens is when you've been through it, like because he used to put me on to a few of the young people, and they used to. Oh, you a Tom, you this, you that, you this, you that, you that. And these guys never been to jail, never had guns pulled on them, never been beat up by the cops. The biggest thing that they did, they called a cop a cracker from the 15th floor, and that's activism. So, and they, and they were high when they did it. So, I listen and I have a lot of compassion because I don't. So I just stop trying to say, "Hey, look, okay, I'll give you a scenario I was in. My grandson, excellent pianist, and he was playing, and I walked by, and I said, "Is that?" The bass clef, so and so and so. I said, what bass clef? Because he thought I didn't know. You know what I mean? He thought I didn't know. And I hit it. And he was like, oh. And that happened with my son one time. And he we were talking, and I mentioned something musically, and then he said, oh, you taught me. Because what happens, you forget. Now, these are my son and grandson that they've never seen me play. Oh, and I'll give you a perfect example. One day I was in my basement playing. I was trumpet playing. I was playing Freddie Hubbard, First Light. And man, I was hitting all the high notes. And my father happened to come down the stairs, and he said, can you play scales? Oh, I said, oh man, scales? Did you hear me hit those Maynard Ferguson, those Freddie Hubbard high notes? So. Man. Now, I'd never seen my father play trumpet. I never knew my father played trumpet. My father picked up the trumpet. He must have been in his 50s. And so that he hadn't played since he was a teenager with my uncle's band. And he started playing Flight of the Bumblebees. My mouth dropped open. I went and told my brother. I said, Dad can play trumpet. He's older than me. He said, you didn't know that? I said, no. And he said, he was in your uncle's band, but they threw him out because he wasn't that good. Because if you don't see what someone can do, like you see them at a certain age, he's he ain't nobody. He ain't nobody. So what has happened is that over the years, I'll just hang out, talk to the young people, and of course they don't think you know anything, which is
it's back. Hold on. Let me say something to that. Isn't it interesting how Dick Cheney and Biden, all these people are in their late 70s or 80s, and yet they've run a culture where they teach young people that old people are stupid and don't know anything. While they're old and Dick Cheney has been in power since the 1970s. Almost as long as I've been living, they've been in the seat of power, year in, year out. And they have young folks thinking, if you're under the age of 25, you don't know anything. And I was just saying earlier that, Kamala Harris and them were being hoes and all. For all of you that are under the age of 40, Kamala and them was slinging ass before you were born. I was saying to someone, I get these people every now and then, and what do you know about Africa? When did you go to? And I'm thinking, not that I've been a whole bunch of times, but I got to Africa before I was 19 years old. I mean, I see people now, they're going to Africa in their 40s, 30s, 50s, 70s. I'm glad they went. 20s, but I went as a teenager and would have gone earlier than that had there not been instability in a couple of places.
Yeah.
Some of us have been doing what we do all of our lives.
Yep.
Before I got to a university, before I got into I got an FBI file. I've had an FBI file since I was 16. No, 15. Do you get me? I'm just saying, I've had an FBI file since I was 15. I turned 60 in February. 15, that means 45 years. Someone has seen me as a bad person. I got more fault when they saw something I did at 17 and so forth. So I look at these people that got in Black Lives Matter and other stuff, and I'm not mad at them if they were doing what's right. But some of us did stuff way before Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Way before. People talk about mass incarceration. Not that I'm early, but I started. involving, at least on some level, against mass incarceration and the Rockefeller laws in 1998. Well, 1998 to it's 26 years. Not so certain people just start talking about this mass incarceration, uh, and some of us been maybe not consistently always doing, but there's always been something around serving or helping some way in the community or for your people from childhood to now. And but they see white
That
hair.
goes up to
th-
you mentioned, so you get, see, this is why a lot of times I don't talk, because what happens is that people think you're name dropping.
No, I didn't drop a
mention
name at
that,
all. I didn't say any
no,
name.
no. When I, like, okay, you were mentioning Nat King Cole,
Yes.
right? I knew Natalie. And my friend was going to marry Natalie Cole.
Mm-hmm.
He was a musician. He was going to marry Natalie Cole.
Okay.
We all knew. So a lot of these people, and have history with,
Yes.
and then people going to argue with you about, oh, so and so and so. So wow, I'll give you, in my office, I keep campaign posters, and I was sticking a poster up. It said Jesse Jackson for president 1988.
Mm-hmm. 1988. Yeah.
And I said, wait a minute. And I remember working on that campaign.
But
When did Barack Obama president become
2008. He won in November. He won in November 2008. Was inaugurated in January. Right, 20 years later. But
that's 20 years.
But who was the major financer of the Jesse Jackson campaign?
I didn't care.
No, but I'm saying it's Donald Trump, who couldn't who couldn't stand Obama.
Listen.
Notice that Jesse Jackson didn't say, Jesse and these people didn't campaign hard for Kamala because they remember all of what Donald Trump did for them.
Listen, Mike Tyson. Okay, let me tell you. This is why, like sometimes I'll look at some of these people, and they, oh, you Tom, y'all didn't do this, y'all didn't do that, and I just listen, because you get older and you say, okay, they're children. They think they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
One time, I used to go to Trump Towers to meet with Don King.
Mm-hmm.
In Trump Towers, Jesse Jackson had a building, had an office. Mike Tyson will tell you the only person that supported him
was Donald Trump.
The only person that
and when Rosa Parks got beaten up and attacked, Donald Trump paid for her to have secure housing.
The thing is, once these are things that's why I don't jump on people, because most people don't know the behind the scenes. Like, for example, like with Mike Wallace, he was the one that helped
Betty Shabazz, yeah.
And so people, when you've been around a while, there was this one young man who used to call me, and he used to just get on my case. He gave me his number. So I just stopped taking this call, because, I said, this young man.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's in Arkansas, it's from California.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I told you that was a problem. I told you that was a problem, so we tried.
I deal with young people.
But a lot of young folks, they don't have any respect. Take that to somebody, show your nastiness to someone that didn't do anything, like your parents. Don't talk to me about it.
We got into an argument. He said, Elvis tried to steal, Elvis stole Hound Dog from so-and-so. And I said, no, Elvis didn't. Big Mama Thornton didn't write that song. Yes, she did.
Hold it.
Was it Leaper?
It's Lieber and Stoller, but Elvis Presley, first and foremost, absolutely was a fan of Big Mama Thornton, and there's no way in hell that he wanted to steal her song. The Hound Dog song, what Elvis Presley did with "You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog" was to trash a white cover. There was a white group. I'm gonna get the name. Hound Dog. I'm gonna get the name of the group, and the Bellboys is the background group. I forget the guy's name. You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, but it's a group, and they did a parody where they insulted the song, and it's ridiculous because Elvis Presley took that song that was done poorly by a white group and actually blackened the song.
Yeah.
He took a song that a white group did that wasn't that good, that was making fun of the original song, and it's called Freddie Bell and the Bellboys. It was released 1955-56. It didn't sell that well, and it was a novelty song mocking black music. Elvis Presley took the song and made it a hard version, hard enough for it to be a number one R&B song as well as an R&B country and Western and pop. Not that I'm telling people to be an Elvis Presley dick rider, but Elvis Presley apparently did not like the white cover of the song, and therefore he did a cover of a white cover and made it more black.
Yeah.
So that's not a put down on black music or culture. And if anybody has heard, I'm thinking when Elvis did his comeback album in 1968, Elvis Presley did In the Ghetto, and he also did Western Union Man. He did a range of songs, and Elvis Presley did everything he could to respect the black artist. Now, this gentleman here, Norm, is talking about Otis Blackwell. He didn't write most of Elvis' songs, but he wrote many of Elvis's biggest songs. People need to remember the same way that Tupac got robbed and Biggie got robbed. No, it might do well for you to research Elvis Presley's catalog, Durkin. Otis Blackwell wrote some of Elvis Presley's biggest songs, not all of them. He wrote some, and he's a great writer, and I know who Otis Blackwell is. Again, someone's lecturing me, and I grew up in Elvis Presley country. The thing is, and that's that whole generational thing. I don't know what that's about. Elvis Presley did the gospel music he did. So the father of gospel music, we can agree, is Thomas Dorsey, black gospel musician. Thomas Dorsey got his biggest payday. He didn't write all of his most popular songs. He wrote some of his most popular songs. Okay, he didn't write Hound Dog, which is his biggest hit. And he did write Don't Be Cruel, but they didn't write Hound Dog. That's Lieber Stoller. He didn't write Jailhouse Rock. He did write Return to Sender. He wrote Teddy Bear. He wrote some, but Elvis Presley had 20 number one records, and Otis Blackwell did not write 20 number one records for Elvis Presley. I think he wrote 4. I mean, they're good 4. As I said, I know all about Blackwell. Elvis Presley was just like any of these R&B artists or these hip hop artists who have corrupt management. Elvis Presley did not get paid, and publishing is corrupt. It's controlled by small hats and others, and they always had a way of stealing from the original makers, no matter who they were.
Yeah.
in particular black folks, because let's just be real, people. Black people don't have property rights now. So if you make something, someone will take it from you. The first airplane wasn't made by the Wright brothers, but the black man didn't have the legal rights or the power to hold on to what he made. That's Lewis Latimer. That's almost everyone black that invents. He gets robbed, and it'll get back to. And part of it is the bitchy attitude that we black people have towards one another. We don't respect each other. We don't work together. We're quick to judge the same way someone throws Otis Blackwell as if I've never heard of him. Okay, I
Yeah.
can remember uh, I was close to buying an album called These Are My Songs. It was Otis Blackwell's album released, wow, in 1984. Was that 40 years ago? And I
Wow.
just didn't have the money to buy the Otis Blackwell album. But I wanted to. I can remember it's a store up off of Connecticut Avenue. Um, uh, like what 40 years ago. So some of us know. Um, it's interesting. People don't call me doctor as an honorary title. I earned it.
No,
And
you,
it's
brother,
funny.
you.
It's funny. It's amazing when you meet black folks. They learn some stuff. I'm not mad at them, and they lecture you. We do this. We're very silly about this. Not that I don't learn something every day, but like I said, people start talking about you need to go to Africa, and people who weren't born when I went to Africa the first time. What are they talking about? You get where I'm coming.
I
What are
was
you
like,
what are you talking about? Well, you need to, you know, you need, you know, uh, please. What are you talking about? Well, we went to Australia. Wonderful. You need to know.
no, wait a minute. They went and they were in the five. They went. I went with a group with Brazil. They go to these 5-star hotels,
Hmm.
and they have to have. Oh, I can't eat this. I
Yeah, they
can't eat that.
when they go to other
This.
countries. Yeah, they don't like. See, I know what it's like to go to Africa and be poor, and take the little the taxis that the other people take, and eat the food that the other people eat, and not. I've stayed in hotels, but a lot of times stayed with people, stayed in people's
Yeah,
homes, walked around, it, get the real experience. In Brazil, people were surprised. What you go to the slums, you're in the favelas with the people, with the gangs, to be in the slums
yeah.
and Google too. I know South Africans who've never been in Google too. Okay, and so when people talk this garbage, who are you talking to? A lot of us are very, very parochial. We don't have a lot of a breadth of knowledge or travel. All of a sudden, some of us get enlightened. Maybe a cop shoots someone in your city, or someone gets their ass beat, or they get fired. Then all of a sudden, they're the expert on all things black. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's shallow. You don't do that with white people. You don't go around lecturing white people about history or Asians or anyone else. So why would you think just because what we're both brown that you necessarily need to teach me? Not that I can't learn, but this condescending thing with knowledge.
Well, they
I said I'm
they
not
learn it
talking.
on
I'm
YouTube.
not
They
talking.
learn on
I
YouTube.
know they're saying on
And
YouTube, but a lot of people on YouTube. Let's be honest. I got all these books. A lot of these things repeat. Books repeat the same thing slightly differently from the other person. It's not. We need to stop. A lot of people treat knowledge or information. Let me just get to it. A lot of black people have destroyed egos, savaged egos, and they need clout, and they need to be important, and they need to be big, and they need to be admired. In fact, they need to be worshiped. And
yeah,
all of this is about me. Look at how great I am. And that's not a truly educated mind. Truly educated people are humble, because the more you learn, you don't know anything, or you don't
yeah,
know as much as you thought you knew. It's sort of like Remember when we were taught in European history? This is what we would have in common. Remember when there was practically no black history in school, Jackson? Almost
Yeah,
none.
yeah,
It was hard to get anything. The only black person that they mentioned in my white elementary school was George Washington Carver. And the
yeah.
only thing black people ever did was they did something with the peanut. And not that my parents, it was such a horrible education that we were being given regarding history till my parents started going to the two or three, maybe two black bookstores in DC until they closed them. Right. And you know what I'm saying? They would raid and knock down the black bookstores. Almost anything that gave enlightenment to our people um, is imperiled, embattled, always, because it's a psychological war in which most of us aren't fighting. We would rather fight each other. I don't need to be smarter than you. I simply need to do the best that I can do and share it. Um, the
Let me
reason,
give a shout out to you, Randy. Let me give a shout out to you. I called Randy. I called Dr. Short. And, the old church people who say, I called on the Lord said, call you.
mm,
Whenever I need some information, whenever I need some prayer, some counseling, I call Dr. Randy Short. I say he's my spiritual guide. He said, what?
oh
I said, yeah.
God, that's
No, and I told you that. I
okay.
told
Well,
you that, Randy.
I don't understand that, but you said it out. Okay, I'll
No,
take
no,
it.
no, look, Randy, we may not agree on a lot of stuff, but yeah, I always defer to you. And I ain't got. And I said, look, I tell people, hey, look, call. You need to talk to this guy. You need to talk. Because what happens is that I'll give you an example. Like people say that, oh, Malcolm learned everything he knew from Elijah Muhammad. No, he learned a lot. He had the platform.
Right.
People don't know that. Okay, Malcolm, Paul Robeson was one of Paul Robeson, John Henry Clark.
And you know what? Let's mention my friend that everybody has made her disappear. The Africanist that Malcolm was getting his stuff from was Sister Jewel Mazik here in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And they made that woman live in fear until she died for being Malcolm's mentor. It was a friend of mine that adopted me. Jewel Mazik, you won't hear about her. This is a hell-raising ass black woman, a real wazi. When you hear me talk about the great black women, and I mean I'm critical of the hyenas and the other ones, but um, it was a blessing for me to get to know Jewel Mazik, who was Malcolm X's mentor on Africa, his main mentor. And this lady, they don't talk about her, but she was great. Uh, this lady was a part of the March on Washington movement that literally intimidated the government into opening up millions of jobs to Black Americans. This woman, we're looking at having a war with Russia over nukes. This woman was sending peace delegations to Russia in 1959. You don't know what it means because you guys didn't grow up with this Cold War, you young people. If you were even trying to study Russian in school when we were young, people thought something was wrong with you. Folk may want to take you and shoot you in your head. What are you learning that for? I'm not trying to be funny with y'all. If someone saw you with the book on Russia, people would get up and move. Am I lying to you, brother? I mean, just anything Russian. I mean, if you didn't say kill all the Russian people, people will, well, are you a communist? And if people think you're that, I've seen it. I mean, people would like not speak to you, turn on you just like that. over a perception that you are one way or the other. A, a lot of people don't quite see. You can't make people understand what's happened in this country, but I would say to people, and I can go back to what 1969, and the highway patrol would come and talk to people about safety. And I remember someone asked a question about Martin Luther King, and the guy said, "We killed that nigger," and everybody cheered. and, 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 and you're like, it's just a few black, and I mean, it's a white. Woo! Uh, my God, everybody cheered, not the black people. Just, I'm not trying to exaggerate. I tell people when the riots happened, remember the police and the soldiers, Jackson, with the guns and the machine guns, and your lights better be out or they'll shoot your lights out.
10 blocks, there's a book, 10 blocks from the White House.
Yeah.
Spell her last name. Spell Mazique's last name.
Jewel Mazique is Mazique.
Okay, I got it.
You won't see much. They've erased her. This woman was one of the mentors, not just to Malcolm X, but all of the African liberation movements. These people would come to see her for advice. She's the first graduate of the Howard University African Studies Department, by the way, Jackson.
Wow.
The first graduate, the first person to get a master's degree in African Studies at Howard and probably anywhere in the United States.
Wait a minute. Okay.
She got run out of school for exposing the link between the expansion of slavery from Georgia into South Carolina because of Jews. And about 60 years ago, the CIA and the other people asked her to work for them. A lot of y'all don't know. People come, you know what I'm talking about, Jackson. They come and they say, "You're a smart nigga. We want you." The same way they got Diddy and the others. And you don't have to struggle if you would just come and work for us. Yeah, we're bastards, but we've got the money and your people don't. We're going to win. Your people are going to lose. So if you want a nice life, you can still kind of do what you're doing, but stop pushing so hard. Your people are never going to make it, and you can work for us. Tell us what they're doing. Don't you want to? And Mazique basically said, he says, "Don't you want to be rich? Don't you want money? Don't you want a nice house?" And Mazique told this white dude who got on her property, don't know, she says, "If my people are poor, why do I need to be rich?" And he says, "You're an arrogant black bitch. So you know what? You're going to miss your husband." And she said within weeks, her husband had begun to turn on her, and he began cheating on her with Marguerite Belafonte, Harry Belafonte's black wife. Harry Belafonte dumped Marguerite and got a white woman, and they Harry Belafonte's manager was connected to the CIA, FBI. It's real talk. Kaminsky, although his name is Kennedy, whose ex-wife was married to what's this guy's name? Hold on one second. Let me get this guy. We have to remember so many names to explain stuff to our colored people. What's this guy's name? His name is escaping me. Stanley Levinson. Stanley Levinson was Martin Luther King's Jewish brain. Stanley Levinson's wife was the ex of the CIA dude who managed Harry Belafonte. Y'all don't see how deep this shit is. Okay. And it's the same way I got some hate text messages from a godmother of mine that used to work for the CIA who's mad at me because Donald Trump won. And basically she's saying something to me like, don't get happy yet. So they may do some stuff to mess up Trump. This is correct. Y'all have no idea. This is an evil ass system. It's an evil ass system. And our people have been through so much until we don't even know. Yeah, I'll just say to you, remember they were giving the people in New York the milk contaminated by the radiation fallout from the bombs. They were selling it in Brooklyn and Harlem, which caused a spike in diabetes for blacks in New York. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. There's been a spike in prostate cancer for black men. We don't tend to realize that there's a link between the COVID vaccinations and cancers, and that the COVID vaccinations are no. It's alleged that the spike protein connects to receptors on black men's testicles. I believe I got blood from a person that was vaccinated, and therefore these crazy cancers that the doctors didn't even understand how all this happened. Could it be? And so they know they can get you. We need to understand that this devil never sleeps and he always moves the goalpost. And so yeah, I was gonna get back to this hip hop. So let's talk about Diddy. That's what I want to talk to you about. How do you feel about Diddy? Because you up in New York and you know they got all the jazz musicians on drugs and stuff back in the day. And I got to get this brother on and talk to him. But his brother played with Miles Davis and others, and this is a real story. He said he was about to sign with either Verve or one of the big labels, Columbia, one of them, Gramercy, all the jazz labels that were up in Manhattan. And they had all the black jazz artists, the biggest ones in the business, and they had a huge table with drugs and syringes on a long, long hardwood table.
Yeah.
And they wanted to get these black artists on dope and heroin and all of this as a means to use them to influence black people to buy drugs and other things because that's how the CIA's budget is fulfilled off of the drugs sold in particular Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore, Washington, Chicago, Detroit. Black urban communities are targeted for drug abuse as part of the national security state. And so they use there is a book called Hepcat. I'm gonna get this book. I have it in storage. You know, you can't keep enough stuff to do. And when you talk to black folks, man, hey, you do that. You don't know what you're talking about. There's a thing called Hepcats. I haven't seen the book in almost 25 years when I remember reading it. Hepcats, and I want to get books. I'll get you the title because I don't tell you something and not prove it. Okay, here's the book. Hepcats, Narcs, and Pipe Dreams, A History of America's Romance. And it talks about hold on. I'll send this to you. Hepcats. Let me save your number and in this phone right now. I'll treat you like you're white. Isn't it nice to be treated like you're white? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Or I tell you what, text me right now if you can, so I can save this number. But I will absolutely get this to you. But I'll read the title for people. Hepcats, Narcs, and Pipe Dreams: A History of America's Romance with Illegal Drugs by Jill Junez. The last name spelled Junnes. Hepcats, Narcs, and Pipe Dreams. And there are many of these dreams. There's a chapter in this book, if I'm correct, and it's called The Sky is High and So Am I. Let me see if they've got this chapter. This is, you can't even keep up with all this. And it talks about how they pushed drugs on black musicians and all of this in the 40s, 50s, in particular New York, and in the places that had the larger performance venues in northern cities to spread the drug culture in the black community, in particular among young black men, as a means to destroy us, weaken us, as well as steal resources from us. And what's happening with Diddy is a more insidious, advanced version of controlling people through degeneracy, because if you get into drugs and you can't afford them, you will do sex to pay for drugs. It's a way to break people down, to make people omnisexual. Because if you're really hooked, I'm going to just say this, a whole lot of people that are druggies do tricks and they care not who pays. It is a lie that people only screw one sex. It ain't so. AIDS proves that. A whole bunch of people, even now, the new boom in AIDS in New York City comes from black men that screw white men to pay for drugs. And they're getting hooked on crystal meth, aka Tina or crystal. Diddy's thing is a variation of a conspiracy against black people using music, degeneracy, and drugs. And so talk to me about Diddy and degeneracy. I'm certain you lived in California. Were you out there with the hippies? You went out there after the hippies.
After, yeah.
And let's say something else. You were part of the resistance to the drugs being spread in the black community. So you were in the Nation of Islam and you worked with the Black Panthers. Did you know Matula Shakur? I'm certain you ran across him.
I probably did a lot of the names. That's I know who he is. I ran into one brother who served.
Assata Shakur. Did you know any of the 21? So you knew Assata? Yeah. You knew Assata?
No, not Assata.
Afeni Shakur?
There's one brother I got a picture with him.
Okay.
He served solitary confinement.
So you're talking about the Black Liberation Army? They were big up in New York, the ones that were bombing.
And so the thing is, a lot of times the movements were together. You know, for example, if someone needed help, we'd raise money for that. You know, to bail or something like that. I'll tell you a funny thing is I can remember I was at the Panther 25-year reunion in California. And I'm just walking around looking at all these gray-haired people with the big pot bellies. And I saw this guy in a big pot belly, gray hair, suspenders. And he's talking. I said, man, look at this old Negro preacher. It turned around. I said, Bobby? It was Bobby.
Bobby Seale?
Bobby Seale. I said, man, I thought you was a Negro preacher. Because you haven't seen these people since they were young. And, so it's, and you see a lot of these people that, they say, oh, man. You
Um,
don't know who that is?
Now I got a question. So this thing with Diddy, and they've done this to
Yeah.
all the black artists. They did it to Ray Charles. Ray Charles went to orgies. Ray Charles did drugs.
Yeah.
Um, Satchmo did drugs. Billie
Yeah.
Holiday did drugs and orgies. C.L. Franklin did drugs and orgies. This isn't new. I'm not defending it. I don't like folk mess. Look, pedophilia. If you're a pedophile, you're my goddamn enemy. Period.
Yeah.
I don't woman, man, just I hate all of it. Literally is on the phone counseling a friend that someone's trying to molest them. Their cousins molested them. It's a lot of molestation abuse in the black community. It's disgusting. I hate it. And I hate the perpetrators of it. It's gotta stop and we gotta be honest about it. So we're didding them if they mess with kids, their asses should never be allowed out. However, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Doors, and we can go on and on. Kiss, Ariel Smith. Remember the Rolling Stones did that movie where they were fucking the women in the 747 planes, and everybody's on drugs. Remember that? When they were saying, "Hey, you get off of my cloud," all this
Oh
stuff
yeah.
is going around at that time. These people did all kinds of stuff, and trafficking isn't new. I'm not saying I like it. I am opposed to the behavior. But did you know that the Platters got busted up because they were alleged to have been trafficking? Did you know that?
No.
Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, pretending that I'm doing well. I seem to be what I'm not, you see. Now, they sang all proper, but they were allegedly pimping out girls. I'm not saying they did it. I'm just saying this thing with black musicians and women, they do target. Elvis Presley was messing with the underage Priscilla. Yes, he was. Jerry Lee
Yeah.
Lewis married Myra, his cousin. She's 13, 14. This stuff isn't new. No, I like the Platters. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I got some favorite groups in the day, and I will say to everybody the number one black group of the 50s, between 55 and 60, was the Platters, the number one black group in the country. I think we can agree to that. You remember the Platters, brother? I know you do.
Yeah.
They were big, massive. The next group to have the same stature as the Platters in America, I'm not talking about just black people, are the Supremes. Um, the next thing closest to that, Earth, Wind, and Fire in the 70s. Earth, Wind, and Fire Commodores, but more Earth, Wind, and Fire. Earth, Wind, and Fire is just more than Commodores, with all due respect. And Earth, Wind, and Fire is a phenomenon. The Commodores is a group. I said it like that. I like Earth. Well, only you, Andy. They said only you, but they had a whole brothel. So talk to me. What do you think about this Diddy thing and the baby oil? You're a New Yorker. You're from up there. What's going on with you black New Yorkers? Y'all seem to produce a lot of wild people. Rick James, I
Well,
think he's from Buffalo. But what do you think about this? Let's go shallow. Let's not do anything heavy and political, so we don't
well.
alienate the young
Okay.
people.
I'm gonna sound very parochial. That's some Harlem stuff.
Harlem stuff.
That's Harlem stuff.
Okay, now
And
let's. Okay, I'm going to put context. People need to remember that Harlem was the epicenter of drugs and sex trade during the Roaring Twenties. Harlem was the number
yes.
one tourist site for black sex, black music,
Yeah.
and to get high. So this Harlem Renaissance was a homo thing All I mean, Langston Hughes, all of them, freak, freak, freak. They were having freak offs before Diddy's whore ass mom was born. Let's be honest. It's not just him. Zora Neale Hurston's munching on white women. Connie Cullen walked off on Du Bois's daughter to be with the man on their wedding day. It was some hard. I mean, Claude McKay. He should have been called Clap McKay. Y'all need to be real. We need to be honest. The Harlem Renaissance to me was a psyop. Alain Locke, his papers at Howard University. This man was screwing every young man of any age that he could at Howard University. The founder of the AKA sorority. You know that building, what's it? Slow Hall, Lucy Diggs Slow. And I'm worried about the name Diggs because I have relatives named Diggs. I don't want. I told you I have Dykes in my family. God, I hope this isn't one. I'm gonna really be angry. Genealogy is so awful when you find out somebody in your family did something bad. Like my distant cousins from LaGrange, North Carolina, are named Lucas. I know you heard about Frank Lucas.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what you know, Frank Lucas is an in-law or something to me. I'm sorry. I mean, I think Nikki Barnes is too, and I think that Frank Matthews is too. They're all from North Carolina. Those are all family names. Huh. Wow. But anyway, so you don't want to talk about Diddy. You do what old black
No,
people do. No, well then
you know,
say something. I'm asking you what you think about Diddy.
I don't know anything about him.
You don't. That means that you're an out of touch boomer. No, so you just lost some points with my audience. He doesn't know. You haven't
No,
heard anything about Diddy. You haven't heard anything about freak offs.
No, to me, okay. When I looked at Diddy, okay, because my students was enthralled with Diddy.
Okay, well, what about
And
Jay-Z? You know about him?
the only thing okay, well, let me do Diddy. I know his father's a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
His father was about that life.
Mm-hmm.
But he moved Diddy up to Westchester,
Mm-hmm.
so he wouldn't have to be in that, that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came out, I just looked at him, and when you teach, and I don't mean this in a derogatory, you know who the corny kids are. And he just looked like a corny kid, kind of nerdy kid, and who knew how to promote.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not that, okay, he's doing this, he's doing with the white party, he's doing the great gap. I was okay, he's him and Biggie and Tupac. So I didn't pay too much attention. Now with Jay-Z, the people used to say that, oh, you're from Brooklyn, you're from the Marcy Projects, and they portray the projects as some gang infested bunch of lowlifes.
So wait a minute. Did you live in the projects?
I live right around the corner from the projects.
So you're saying the projects were not tough and people aren't just shooting their mama over a piece of toast in the morning? Mm-hmm. You're trying to say that it was like the Waltons, good night, John Boy. You're trying to tell me the projects were loving and sweet and everybody was happy and singing Negro spirituals together? I mean, is that how it was?
Let me tell you something about the projects. Number one, you could not live in the projects if anybody with one of your family was on drugs. Okay, they throw you out.
When did that change? Wait. You're saying you couldn't get high and be in the projects?
If you had a relative that was using drugs, you were thrown out.
You were thrown out.
Yes.
Don't you think
Yeah,
that's harsh? Couldn't they get rehab for the person? Didn't they want to like at least give people a chance?
I don't know.
So no,
Number
you know
two,
the answer is no, because when
okay,
black community people ran public housing, you not only could you not have drugs, you couldn't have roaches and mice, and you couldn't drink and
wait a
you
minute.
couldn't
Let
piss
me
in the
finish.
hallways.
Let me finish. Let me finish. They used to have apartment inspections.
Hmm.
They had to be clean. You could not walk on the grass. You could not sit on the chain link fence. Okay? There were so many restrictions. They used to have the Boy Scouts. I have a picture of my friend took in the Albany projects of the Boy Scouts. A bunch of men in the Boy Scout troop. And if you looked at them, it looked like a Nation of Islam gathering. All of these young men. Most of my friends that I went to school with, elementary school, and middle school, junior high school, they called it, were from the projects. I used to hang there all the time.
Mm.
And my friend's father he used to teach piano in the projects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Had a baby grand piano. No, wait a minute. You talking about depravity with a baby grand piano and you teaching people in the projects music? Come on.
Mm. Now, what I'm going to say to you is my father grew up in the projects, and our family's in the projects, and my grandfather literally I don't know, people used to raise hell. The National Symphony Orchestra used to come to the projects to play orchestral music in DC.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it's just yeah. I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
Vivaldi and Four Seasons and Brahms and all. I mean, there was no rhythm and blues, no jazz, none of that. That was unheard of. Y'all need to understand. Let me go back to y'all. At Howard, you couldn't do jazz, blues, or gospel on Howard's campus before late 1969. Your ass would be thrown out of school. People have no idea that a lot of this stuff it just wasn't. You just couldn't do it. Don't even think about it. It's the same way that you couldn't get pregnant, and so they put your family out if you got pregnant in the projects. They throw your family out because one of the kids got pregnant. Am I lying? Your ass has to go. Get the fuck out. It was, but that's when black people had a say in how the public housing was run. When the white liberal LGBTQ tranny type people got in power, they says, you need bowel movement in the hallway. You need piss going down the steps. You don't need to be married. You don't need a man. All of this feminism and all of this stuff was brought in, and I'm going to say this, black women, damn. Y'all thought the white women were y'all friends. Just like Diddy thought that Clive Davis was his. And all of this garbage came in with this liberal agenda. And it's been our downfall, along with you can kill that baby. That's not a life. That's why I asked the question on Pat Talk. That, speaking of dumbing down, there's been a lot of dumbness in both sexes. But ladies, when you're 9 months pregnant, do you really need an ultrasound to know that you're pregnant? That's fucking insane. You are out of your fucking brain, woman, if you need to see a baby on a television screen to believe that you're pregnant. And especially when you don't drink a Rolling Rock every night. What do you think? It's beer. What would make your belly blow up like that and stop having a period? I mean, because you have a gut. So you get what I'm saying? The women are ready to kill the baby until they see it on ultrasound. Did the women need ultrasound when you were young to know that they were pregnant?
You didn't know? I never heard of ultrasound.
No, well, I'm just telling you, no, let's look it up. Ultrasound is a way that they can show the baby inside the womb to the mother. They find when women realize it's actually a baby, even when they're like 8 months and they don't really think it's a baby, when they see the baby on ultrasound, say, "Oh, it's a baby." When did showing with the shit's hanging over over your belt, and you aren't pregnant until someone has $1 million machine to tell you that you're pregnant? When did we get dumb like this? Now you watch that. Think about it. Like even abortion, people got them, but did they take selfies or pictures? Say, "Oh, I killed that motherfucker." Did they do that back then?
If you got pregnant, they sent you down south.
But what about the people that got the back alley abortions? Weren't people like, Coat Hanger City or something? What about that?
Didn't hear that much. Didn't hear that much about it.
So wait a minute. So the story is all these black women getting coat hanger abortions and dying everywhere is not true?
I didn't hear it.
And your family was relatively involved.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe not in Brooklyn. What about Harlem? Weren't they killing babies over there? I mean, someone.
I can't tell you about Harlem. It's funny. Harlem and Brooklyn, each one of those boroughs are almost like a different country. Almost like a different country.
Sister Star made this comment. And of course, I have to repeat it. Sister Star, you have to meet her. Feminism teaches black women to be disconnected from her emotions. I agree. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Do you remember the women's movement? Remember how cool black women used to be? And when you were young, were black men just beating black women's asses every turn, slapping them and not respecting them for being good moms and shit? I mean, there was some, I'm certain, but were black men and black women constantly fighting and hating each other when you were growing up?
No.
When did this start? At least when you perceive there's this thing where we can't get along, we can't coexist?
I think that's pretty recent.
Recent? And you don't think that did the feminist movement have anything to do with it?
Oh yeah, I mean, okay, I'll give you an example. Usually, when you got educated, the blacks who became educated became Marxists.
Right.
So it was quick. You're a racial chauvinist. I'm a Marxian, the dialectical material, and remember they used to have the red book.
Yes.
They used to walk around with the red book.
You're talking about Mao's little red book that the Panthers now have.
Yeah,
quotations of Chairman Mao. Mm-hmm.
That was only a certain cadre of black people. Those were the black people who were kind of, what would you say, whititized, that had been around black people, that were around a lot of white people.
Okay. So, all right. Well, let's do another one. Let's do the black gay community, because you can't tell these people that they're not 99.9% of the black community. I'm certain there were gay people when you were coming up. Was it anything like this?
Listen. Everybody, like I remember one preacher was railing, says, "Man, we're gonna get rid of all the sissies." And this was just not recent, maybe about 10, 20 years. And I said, "You're gonna get rid of your whole music ministry," because most people knew that in the black church, most of the musicians, they were gay. No one gave a damn. No one cared. If they could do the music, they did the music. There was no, we hate you because you're gay. We knew you. We knew that we're gay because we knew you were a sissy. Nobody bothered you, because what happens, I remember we were on the bus one time coming from the beach, and somebody made one of those comments, and there was this one guy, he was gay, and he said, "There ain't a faggot on this bus that don't chick behind." And everybody knew that. You didn't mess, you didn't mess with them. And they didn't mess with you.
So the idea that the black community is just this crazed, homophobic, transphobic, just beating and killing, and gay people having no rights and no sensitivity, And all the black people of the same sex attracted are driven to suicide by the extreme homophobia of the black community. Um, you're saying that you didn't witness that.
Nope. Still don't witness that. Look,
So
if
where
they
do
want to talk about,
where do you think this idea comes from? That black folks are just we treated gay people so badly until black people owe gay people reparations in the form of black men need to stop being masculine and sports and everything, and we need to just let them fuck our kids through child and family services and indoctrinate them in school. That's how we can
I'm
build
sorry,
penance for oppressing gay people.
there isn't a family, a black family doesn't have some gay members.
Hmm.
Doesn't have it. And everybody knows who they are. And no one gives a damn.
So are you saying that the liberals and the other people that bully are lying on us?
Of course.
Okay, so
Look,
hold on.
okay,
So you're basically saying, first and foremost, that everybody wasn't trying to get an abortion when you were coming up. You're saying that black men weren't just kicking the hell out and beating the hell out of black women and not letting black women work or get an education when you were coming up. So, I mean, we have issues, all people do, but there was at least some respect between men and women. That's what you're saying. And you're also saying that the black community just folk weren't just out trying to lynch and kill and beat and mug every gay person. Every person that swished down the street has to worry about a brick knocking them upside the head. You're saying that this is not what you saw.
not. So,
Not even
who
in the
kills? I
50s,
mean,
not back in happy days with those big, hulky, gas guzzling cars. I mean, nobody's out there screaming at sissies and throwing bricks and shit at
no,
people. Okay.
no, no, no.
You know, what you're saying is completely subversive. If you were on CNN, there would be so many hate calls and people saying all the stuff that
No.
happened to them.
Number one, these people, look, these people never lived in the black community. They still don't live in the black community. I mean, they're so out of it, they can't even get arrested in the black community for driving black. That's how out of it they are. They read a book, they go to a lecture, and then they start espousing all of this nonsense.
Hmm.
Oh, black men beat up the black women. You put a hand on a black woman, she's going to kick your behind.
And her brother gets you too.
Everybody.
Right.
So for this whole thing, these men beat up. Our women are tough. Our women are tough.
Let me ask you. So you got Jay-Z and on to I really want to ask you about Oprah Winfrey. I'd be interested in your thoughts on Jay-Z and Oprah Winfrey.
On Oprah?
Yeah, but do Jay-Z. You may not know much. I just want to see if you have an opinion.
Well, okay, I remember. Okay, the Marcy Project. I used to work, and they interviewed Jay-Z's teacher, and here's what she said. She said that boy was so smart he like swallowed a dictionary. This is how smart he was, because that's why he's good with words. So he had a good education growing up in the public schools in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
in the urban areas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
See,
Jay-Z isn't a thug. Jay-Z is a schoolboy pretending to be a thug. Maybe he sold some
Yeah.
drugs, but basically, who didn't? And certain
Who did?
communities. Okay.
It's,
Okay, which is why I'm going to celebrate. You know what? I'm going to do this on my live. I have some cannabis products that someone bought for me to take to fight prostate cancer. I'm going to get fucked up on my YouTube channel to celebrate. I have never ever bothered with any cannabis in my life, but you know, I'll do just about anything to save the little Jimmy that I have. And he's facing an onslaught of uncontrolled cell growth. And so I'm gonna like bite a gummy and all before I sign off. Just and you and I can tell you, for all of you folks that smoke and get high because you're stupid, I'll better understand you having been high myself. Not that I want to. Like I think I told you I was in the hospital and they gave me fentanyl. Oh God, that stuff was great. You know, You know, 'cause, you know, what's the song? Great is Jehovah. I mean, there was some, oh my God. When they got through giving me the biopsy, they had to like dig into one of my glands or something. They gave me some Prince or Percocet, and they gave me fentanyl. And man, I had been in pain for weeks. They gave me the fentanyl. You know, what's the song by the Impressions? It's all right. It's
It's
all right. Have a good time, 'cause it's all right. Whoa, it's all right.
it's all.
It was good. You didn't mention them as a group. They were good, Curtis Mayfield. I can't believe you didn't mention them.
No, oh yeah, he's
Oh, Curtis Mayfield and Superfly. Now, you were there in New York. Did you see any of the black exploitation films being made when you were young?
all of them.
Okay, did you see any of them being filmed?
I saw
Cotton
I
Comes
worked
to
on
Harlem.
one.
Which one you work?
No,
Because you were in you're a pioneer of radio, television, and film for Black people. You went to a special program in upstate New York, State University of New York in Albany, right?
right.
What 72, 73, when
70.
70. Oh, wow. Okay. And you learned all about television and all that stuff way back when they used to give opportunities to Black folks. And did you
Yeah.
notice they gave Black people opportunities for about from 1965 to about 1972, and then they stopped?
Well, see, what they wanted to do was get us off the street.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured, okay, we'll send them upstate. They'll be so isolated they won't finish.
Mm.
And I hear one of the counselors said, look, this program will not last.
But it's still in effect today.
Now, here's the interesting thing. When you hear the ELP program, when you hear the ELP program, 1/3 were Black, 2/3 were white. But when they mentioned ELP, it was always Black.
Mm. Now, let me ask you. And here's a good one. Are you a Pan-Africanist?
Whatever that means, I don't know.
so you're
I don't know.
so you don't know what Pan-Africanist means.
Intellectually, okay. Here's my. Okay, I hear people say, I'm a Pan-Africanist. Okay, do you eat it? Have you ever eaten any African food? No. Do you listen to any African music? No. Do you know any African languages? No.
Give me a pause. This sister wrote up here, Black men used to love us. My response to you is, you guys used to be lovable. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, sister.
Yeah.
Now, I know some very good sisters, but I have friends, and some of you brothers will agree, when you go out, if I don't know a Black woman, if I'm out, I don't say anything because I don't want any trouble.
Yeah, you just.
I don't want to be presumed that I stalked them, I disrespected them. You can't love people that you don't know. You can't love people that you don't share things in common with. You can't love people that are hostile to you in the workplace.
Yeah.
You can't love people that are on code with other people's struggles. You can't love people who like killing babies. You can't love people that think divorce is cool. You can't love people who think if I'm omnisexual or if I do what, I'm still straight. And if you even halfway get along with another dude, you're gay and you're suspect, even though I've got vagina hair hanging out the side of my mouth. That's not lovable. No one likes hypocritical, dishonest, overly complicated, egocentric people that are narcissists. Nobody likes that. In fact, evidence of that is it's like white people, if you've ever been in a situation and you're the only black, and white people don't like each other, but they can all agree that they don't like the black person. That's their unity. A lot of sisters have a unity that they're mad at black men, so they can come together and anger against black men, but they don't like each other. But yet give those same woman a female boss, they won't respect her. They won't work with her. In fact, that boss female will treat them 10 times worse than a man.
Yeah.
In fact, put those women in a same sex relationship with another woman, and they'll get beat 10 times as often and wouldn't dare call the police once. Get with the black man, and anyway they don't win a conversation, they call 911 and lie. You can't love people that lie about paternity. You can't love people that refuse to do joint custody. You can't love people that don't want to form families or be wives or be mothers. That isn't something that you love. That's something that you walk away from. And so we're not getting married. And evidence points to the greatest culprit in the families collapsing. If you look at the rate of divorce, it is much higher. I think it's 50% or more higher for black women getting divorced than black men. Black women are more likely to divorce a black man than if they marry a white man, they stay with him. They will divorce a black man. They'll even stay with a white man of low income better than they will with a black man with a good or high income. So black men used to love us as projection. Black women used to love being women. They stopped. And when you stop liking who you are, you can't like anybody else. When, as an aggregate population, you kill 6/10 of the babies that are developing inside of you, and you are 12 or 13% of the population, and you get 40% of the abortions. This isn't a community or a collective or a demographic that likes itself. If you don't like your own hair, if you don't like your own nails, if you do not like your own eyelashes, if you don't like your own buttocks, no one can like them for you. It's time that we get honest. We hear every day of our lives as black men what's wrong with us. And I think many of us accept the criticism. Thank God for St. Kevin Samuels, all peace be upon our holy prophet. Prior to Kevin Samuels, we couldn't even talk about our side of it. To be in a relationship, there must be a dialogue. However, a very popular play from the early 2000s is very reflective of the black experience. It's called The Vagina Monologue, which is one way of conversating. That is absolutely crazy that it's one-sided. Who is the richest black woman in America? I think it's Oprah Winfrey. Has Oprah Winfrey, in all of her years and her hundreds of millions of dollars, made a movie where a black man and a black woman love and respect each other without a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on? This woman hasn't made one simple love story. There has to be incest, violence, abuse, sexual confusion. The richest black woman who can make any film she wants, she has elected to never make a film in which black men love black women. She's elected to do this. You can get black men to make films where black men love black women, but you do not see, and if you look at a great amount of the literature that are produced by black women writers, and there's a book called After Mecca. Let me get the title, After Mecca. The woman's arts movement that came out of my brother's New York White lesbians and feminists funded by the CIA put money into black lesbians and feminists to attack black men. No one has given black men money to destroy black women's image, even though there are awful people like Diddy and others who destroy black women's image funded by white people. But typically, your grassroots black men don't like Sexy Red. We don't want this stuff. However, it's called women's empowerment. That's interesting. So there's been a very, very, very dangerous culture that's emerged, and a lot of the misogynist men that you beef about come from homes headed by and guided by women. So a lot of this hatred that the women feel they get, maybe the genesis of it, as I was talking to my dear cousin and friend, and I won't call their name, when they said to the family that they were inappropriately being touched by a male, the women in the family scandalized a young woman who didn't tell anyone, whose father would have killed the man had she said anything. The women didn't say, "We're sorry that this happened. What can we do for you?" Instead, they attacked her. I, who have a family where there's been pedophilia and so forth, I'm amazed at the behavior. Since we want to put women on a pedestal and make them saints, how the women have often colluded with pedophilia and abuse. I'm not excusing if it's a man, and many of the pedophiles are women themselves. It's a conversation that we need to have for Diddy, because he's more than likely the victim of pedophilia and probably from a female. Chris Brown, Ike Turner, and there are many others. And by the way, because I think black men have a greater awareness to racism, because black men want to protect the image of black women, we don't put out books and movies that trash or show the worst in black women, because we don't want all black women attacked and under that kind of abuse. Because no matter what you say about us, the reason that the migrants aren't trafficking and ripping you guys like they're doing the white women is they fear black men doing something about it, whether you think you're protected or not. And it's time for people to grow up and to start looking at whether, because I hear this expression, if I went into a room and said, black women ain't shit, most men would say that faggot's out of his mind.
Yeah.
No matter if I'd had a million women run trains with me that just, man, you need to get it together. Some good women out here. Black men would be all over that faggot, man. You don't say nothing about no woman. Period. Proof of that is Kamala Harris, who's not a black woman, who's made a career destroying black men. But because black women liked her, black men overwhelmingly voted for Kamala Harris, who's destroyed thousands and thousands of black lives. Because black women said. Now, had it been a white man that destroyed black women's lives, and black men in any way supported him, they would be attacked, roasted collectively, and blamed. And we can say, has Donald Trump collectively hurt black women like Kamala Harris hurt black men? No. Are black women giving black men hell about Donald Trump winning the presidency? Yes. There's a disequilibrium out here, and I'm a patriarch. I don't care two damns about ignorant women who don't know what time it is. We're going to establish order in our community if we have to drag hard-headed folks kicking and screaming. That we're going to go back to where facts and information matter more than emotions and moods. The children who come up without the male in the home, that are emotion and mood driven, don't learn. They're on drugs. They create chaos. They shoot and kill everyone. They've made our communities living hells. And who's running those households? These queens that we're supposed to love that are too good for a man until they've had children by 7 or 8 of them. And then they're supposed to be someone to play the late James Earl Jones and adopt a whole bunch of people who will never call him father, treat him like one, because the woman needs status and she needs to be stabilized. That's insane. That is one of the things that's happened to us. And we need to get back to being happy to be a woman in a woman's body, a man in a man's body. Gabriel Union doesn't catch any hell, and they're going to mutilate that boy. Dwayne Wade gets pushback from black men about what's happening to his son, but not Gabriel Union. Were the stepfather man and the mother was doing that, he would catch hell. Even if it wasn't his choice, he'd be a weak man. The thing I hate about feminism is it's taken all responsibility, all critical thinking, all accountability off the shoulders of women, and yet wants to accord to women everything that men have without any other responsibility, accountability, or critical thinking. It's never going to work, and that's why our community is failing. And it's time for people to grow the hell up. And if you can't meet a person that's willing to marry you and commit, and I'm talking about treating the woman with respect and honor. Okay, I'm very clear. I'm against abuse. I'm against exploitation. I will do everything I can to show solidarity, because if you do not love womanhood, you don't love humanity. But vice versa, sister and sisters, if you do not love manhood, you do not love humanity. And black men and black women are not a separate race. That's white supremacist and white feminist propaganda that you guys eat like Dunkin' Donuts at a police rally. And it's time for the nonsense to stop. And, I'm not trying to be popular. And I want to say to the weak black men listening, as long as you act like a man on the beach begging for sand when it comes down to female attention and affinity and sexual release, your women will not respect you. No one respects a beggar. No one. Women find it challenging with the man that doesn't give in to everything they say. You are not a player. A player and a simp can't be the same thing. A player, to at least some degree, has his own thoughts and opinions and doesn't care who disagrees. However, I don't like the pimp culture. It needs to go. It needs to be abolished, and so does the pork chop feminism that's infesting our community. It's time to stop. And I don't care what you did, no name, fuck you. I don't have to be married to know right from wrong, sodomite or whatever you are. Hey, Star, get this bastard off my thread. Well, I don't have to be married to tell someone right from wrong. How dare, look, let me get this bastard off you. You're funny, queer. Yes, I did. Yeah. Thank you, Star. Get his ass off. I don't mind people disagreeing, but that's stupid. And no, you don't have to be married to know right from wrong. You don't have to be a parent to know child abuse when you see it. That person that said that's one of those little goofy niggas that thinks that everything has to be experienced. Like lynching doesn't exist if it didn't happen to me. This is what you're talking about, the stupid ass young people, brother.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have. I know what it's like to nurse people, take care of people's mother, or when they're sick. Remember, I was living with Granny, taking care of a cancer patient. I know what it's like to care for someone. I don't have to be their husband. Everything is poles and holes. A lot of people don't get married. but at least I'd like to. So that's bullshit. And that's the other thing. And we talked about that. We're going to say this. Another thing that's contributed to the black community falling down is the brother fucker. The brother fucker is a antisocial, anarchistic nigger that is always tearing things down. Black men, the one thing I can say about the Nation of Islam is they have a degree of discipline. Don't have to agree with everything in the Nation of Islam, but certain things don't happen when men say we're not going to tolerate crap. We're too lax. We're lax with the dummies in our ranks. We let stupid people run their mouths. You know, folks don't mouth off at the Nation of Islam meeting because they get their ass beat. It isn't because they respect Farrakhan. It's because they respect a foot going in their ass. And that's the sad thing about us. If that requires physical force and violence to be able to talk to people, for someone to show you respect, especially some empty-headed nigga that doesn't have 1% of what I've got going. Married or not, lots of people. I could have married them. How many people are married and divorced 4 and 5 and 6 times? When, God willing, soon, or if I don't, it's my damn business. But yeah, they kick they ass out. We don't have to tolerate foolishness, and I don't tolerate it on my platform. And you know what? The main people that will run their mouth are the last to subscribe, the last to donate, the last to truly offer anything. We're the only people on the face of this earth that let our trash be unbent. We need to have a dumpster fire for our hard-headed, disobedient men and women. Will never be respected. If you've ever been on a bus and a black person just acting stupid, cussing, pissing down the middle of the bus, father, and we don't check that. I don't think it's right that man that choked that dude to death in the subway. But then again, I say, brothers and sisters, why are we acting like that in public as a hated minority group? Aren't we thinking that what we do, there are consequences that impact all of us if people can see who they think is us? Maybe it's a Dominican, but it's brown. It's important that that be stopped. Now, speak to that, Jackson, because, you know, you've been married, but then again, you've been married, but is it always easier to be married with this culture? Has it been easy for you? You came up with the happy days. Has it always worked, or have you found sometimes it challenging to be married to today's woman? And by the way, the bastard that said that, just in case you don't know, 1 out of 2 black men in this country aren't married, which means I'm just short of being in the majority. Meaning, we aren't forming families. And there has to be a reason when it's 50%. And my brother who brought me my CBD gummies was making $250,000 a month, a high earning man in good physical condition, God fearing man, making excellent money, buying homes, taking care of his kids, all of that. And the wife decides to be unfaithful and to destroy the business. And I know many people who I talk to, Jackson, I counsel, and I didn't ask because I know I'm not married. I don't come to you and give you marital advice. Did I? Have I ever done that?
No.
No. I've only one time said something to you and I was correct, but I didn't push it. And it was a sentence, right? I didn't beat a dead horse and said, hey man, die. That's it. And for my friend whose wife divorced him and within a week married the man they're probably cheating with, brought home an STD to him. Oh, yes, I do know several friends, even church people who have church wives come and bring STDs and blame the husband for the STD that they got. And they go to court, and the judge almost gives them everything because this racist court system incentivizes black women destroying the homes. And sisters know it. They get practically everything. A black man walks into court. There's a very good book. It's called Black Men and Divorce by Sage Press. They've already done the research. Black men don't get a fair shake, and that's the system is designed to destroy the black man. The feminists tell the black woman that the system's designed to destroy the black woman. No, if you destroy the black man, you will destroy the black woman. The black women who are doing well in this country, for the most part, are married to a black man and they make it. Black women that are doing most poorly, for the most part, are single black women. We need to be together, but how can two walk unless they agree? The scriptures say in the Old Testament, how can a man be married to a woman who is a social hermaphrodite, who acts like a man, but wants the consideration and all of being a woman while being a man at the same time? That's a freaky situation. You know, people find this trans stuff pathetic. I find women that behave and act and dress like men who want to be treated as women pathetic because they're basically trans too without the operation. Now, let me see. Oh my God, it's just a few minutes to 1 o'clock. Y'all want us to have another boomer conversation. In fact, we've got, okay, we need to have another boomer conversation, and this time we'll script, but we just wanted to get this out. I want you to talk about the film that you helped make in Africa. We can do this. When do you want to do this again, Jackson?
I'll give you a call. I mean, I was reluctant.
Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want you. I don't want
to beat up by people that you express your. No, it's not.
No, so I'm not going to do that to you.
Not you. Not you. No, definitely. Look, because we talk a lot, Randy. We talk. We talk a lot, and so. But what happens is that I think that the when people watch television, they get an idealized sense of what marriage is. They say everything's 50-50. No, it's not 50-50.
No, it's not 50-50.
You got to be in 100%, 100%.
100% man for 100% woman.
You got there. And the thing is, okay, you figure this way. You're sleeping with someone who doesn't smell like you.
No.
Okay, think about that. I mean, if you've ever been in the locker room and you see guys that sweat.
Yeah, men are musty. So, women smell better than men do.
Yeah. So now you're living with someone that smells differently. That you see them go to the bathroom, you see them sick, and that takes a lot of maturity.
It does.
That takes a lot of maturity. He says, "Oh my God, you stunk up the bed," and he says, "Okay, I can." And what happens is people have this. People have mood swings. Men have mood swings. Women have mood swings, and you gotta learn to. Okay, this is what it is. Just let me. I was going through the Facebook, and I used to watch every now and then. They'd have these clips with the Cosby Show, and I said, I see what Bill was trying to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But Bill should have been living it as well as trying to do it on television.
I know. That's so sad. And the thing is, because he understood. Once you get into this thing, like I was talking to this Marxist, and I'm telling him, we were just discussing something, and I said, well, we went to this one African function, and one of the high ambassador's wives came in with a very expensive regalia on, and then one of the wives saw it and went home and put on a more expensive regalia. So I was telling him, like, even with women, they don't want to wear the same. If they go to a party and people and another woman has the same dress on, they don't like. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Give me just a second. Sister Star, thank you for your service as always. But you're right, brother. They don't want the same. It's the same way you can't tell a woman that she's as good in bed as the last one you had, because you may end up dead. But a woman can tell a man he's able to hold his own, like other men don't have an issue the same way with women do. You can't tell her baby's pretty like all the rest of them. You need to tell her baby's pretty. Women very territorial about this stuff. Nothing wrong with that. And again, this platform does not exist. If you're feminist, you will be miserable watching this. This is an anti-feminist platform. It's also an anti-simp platform. Long live Kevin Samuels. We are absolutely not interested in pleasing feminism. It is my mission. I'm the apostle of anti-feminist thought. I'm here to get people to be against feminism. Women's rights, women's rights are great. Women, but not feminism. To hell with that. Mm-mm.
I saw him on. I didn't know what all of this. See, I haven't had a television in about.
He's not on television. You can watch him on YouTube. If you've seen Kevin Samuels on YouTube, we're not making.
Oh, he was.
Kevin Samuels.
He was on point.
Yeah, they got Kevin Samuels destroyed. And someone has to ask, what was he doing where they needed to destroy him? And the women went around and celebrated him dying. Nobody loves anything like that, ladies. When a black woman dies, why to go out? Yeah, Whitney Houston, that bitch is dead. Man, the hate I would still be getting. Anti-black male hatred in our community is a luxury we can't afford, ladies. You need to find some way to discharge yourself of it. And vice versa for black men that don't love and care about womankind, in particular black womankind. You need to be delivered. By the way, let me ask you one last question, then we can go. Do you think that the black community now is more Luciferian or wicked or depraved than when you were young? Are we the same? Have we gotten nasty or more vile or more anti-God? Okay, so give me some examples of where we are.
I'm in the deep south.
You're in the deep south.
And before you pass a black person and you nod, and they nod back. Now they're ready to fight you.
For looking at them?
For looking at them, or just even acknowledging them. I just see people talk about, people in New York are rude and this and this and this and this.
Well, people from New York are rude. People from New York are rude, actually.
Now, here's what I'll tell you. I'm not different. People in New York are like this. They'll say, "Where's 40 seconds?" You can say, "Down there, boom." They're in a hurry. You know what I mean? They ain't got time for you to pontificate. Well, you go 3 blocks. Man, just tell me where it is. You know what I mean? It's like, so what happens is that when I first moved in '86, people used to beat up all you people ain't got no manners, so. I says, okay, I'll take that. But then I started looking, I said, you Negroes are worse. The only people I see you gender flexing to are the other people.
Oh, you mean white people? Yes.
Yeah.
Now, that's something I did see in the Deep South was, it was shocking that the Bible Belt should be called the Unbible Belt, or should be the Unbuckle Belt. This is Horace, it's more Horace and I think you can't top DC, but yeah, you can. It's nasty. It's nasty. It's nasty. And you think Atlanta, Jesus, oh my God! It's basically it's the sewer system of Sodom and Gomorrah, Sadlanta, and other places. My God. Whew,
I,
Jesus.
I couldn't believe
Jesus.
it. Couldn't believe it.
So
You know,
keep going.
I,
So you're saying we're more wicked than what we used to be? Are
oh,
we killing each other
just
more than what we used to?
probably, yeah. Because you hear people shoot hit. You say, well, what are they angry about? Someone stepped on their sneakers.
Mm.
Someone disrespected them.
And that didn't happen
Uh,
when you were young? Because I used to have switchblades in New York, stabbing people and such. I mean,
well, see, you had a switchblade because you couldn't have a gun. If you cut
okay.
somebody, you wouldn't go to jail. Or if you shot somebody, you're going to go to. You can't have a gun in New York. So that's why they would use knives. And back in those days, people just fight.
People don't
You know,
fight
they
anymore.
fight.
Now people just kill.
Yeah, they just shoot.
So do you think that black people have lost their values or their soul? Have we become?
Yeah, yes. And the thing is, it's what we consume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every time I see these pictures of, oh, I'm a successful woman, the breasts sticking out, they popping corks,
Mm-hmm.
and the weave, and all of this other stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
the booty sticking out, and I'm like, do you really expect somebody to want to be with you?
Yeah, well,
You looking like
some people do. They expect someone to be with them and be high earning. And I even saw this thing, and I saw this thing. I think it's our sister that's on the line with us is telling me about a man that shot a woman who was pregnant with this child 12 times, which is an atrocity. But my thought was, did he find out the kid wasn't his? You know what? Almost half the children and these families and all are not the children of the father. You've traveled abroad, you know, that gets you hurt, to put it
yeah,
kindly, in most places in the world. The amount of cheating and backstabbing, and when women,
yeah,
my body count shouldn't matter. Hell yeah, with AIDS and chlamydia, and there's an epidemic of pelvic inflammatory disease. A lot of these women cannot have children because
yeah.
they've got fallopian tubes that look like a carrot grater. There's so many holes in it. Um,
Mm,
you can't fuck everyone. You can't use everything. You can't drink everything. You can't smoke everything. You can't do everything vile and come out on
yeah,
top. That is the one problem I have with the autobiography of Malcolm X. Is there's so many people that think I can fuck up the first 20 some odd years of my life and still come out okay. It's not true. Why not get the first 20 years correct? And I really despise the church where I have a testimony.
yeah,
You damn it, you don't. The testimony is that you got saved. You got a damn gangster series for Netflix. That's no testimony. Then you got to be a minister where I cut a few people and I stabbed some people. And now I'm ready to serve God. This is what I'm thinking. If Diddy gets out of jail, he's going to become a religious leader. And
yeah.
I just know it. And uh, I'm that's my comment. It's the same way that crooked dude, we called him Talcum X. What's that guy? Sean King, who was pretending to be black and he's white. And when everybody found out he's faking, he decided to become a Muslim. He went Muzi because he couldn't cheat and
Sean
deceive
King.
black. Sean
Who
King.
was he?
He's a white gentleman that tried to pass himself off as black, and we were calling him Talcum X.
Where is it? From Howard?
No, he's not from Howard. He was down in Atlanta. You just look him up. I don't remember. I just know he's a fraud. He's like Rachel Dolezal. You know, she was at Howard the same time as us.
Okay.
And I tried to expose Rachel Dolezal back in 1999. 1999, 2000. And if you watch MSNBC, there's a Negro on there named Charles Coleman Jr. Charles Coleman and the others blocked me from going after Rachel Dolezal, who...
Wasn't Charles Coleman at Howard?
Yes, he's at Howard. I'm saying he's at Howard blocking me from going after Rachel Dolezal. This was in like 2000. For
Yeah.
all the people that say you old, I mean, I spotted that fake ass bitch out in '99. I says, man, do you see that fake ass white? And everybody, oh, you're prejudiced. I'm not prejudiced. I got a family full of people that can pass for white. I know of, and I knew people in the fine arts department that could pass for white. This is a fake ass infiltrator. And all of them said, you're racist and we're not going to support you. So you see Charles Coleman, who's Omega Sci-Fi, trying to come off as this. He's so down and so prescient. And every time I tried to do something that was like a hit at Howard, folks like that would fight it because we have a lot of coons. Beware of people who become hip and black because there's a bag connected to it. You're not always going to get paid to say and do what is right, which is why I always advise people, if you're trying to do something to help your own folks, you better find God. You're going to need something to keep you because you're going to be discouraged and you'll encounter a lot of evil
Yeah.
and chaos. But let me stop here. Let me ask my wing person guest panelist that's there. Um,
Okay.
does she have anything to say? She probably fell asleep or she's probably fighting with her dogs. But we okay. So, but
No.
I want to show you the respect I would to a white woman. So, honorable
No,
white man to you. So,
I have to say that I have been listening, I have been learning, and I have really enjoyed you gentlemen's conversation.
oh my
I
God.
hope
It
I,
is-
I hope I have added something because I.
Well, you just started. You've got to come back, and we're going to talk.
Because
You've got to come back and talk about the struggle for independent black education in New York. And
yeah,
but we wanted to introduce people to Brother Ray from New York, and and there's someone that said that you're not from New York. You don't have the accent.
Well,
Eh,
that's okay. See, this is like people say, "Well, look, I don't talk, yo, son, I don't talk like I'm from New York." That's okay. That's
well,
okay.
I hear it
And
all the
that
time.
person who said that I'm not from New York, they're from some country town who are trying to be. See, this is what happens. If you are yourself and you're talking, and you don't come off with the armor and all of the accolades, and this person is this, says, well, he's not real because he's not from here. Hey, whatever.
And
You say what?
so and we're not clout chasing here, because I have people
Yeah.
say you're not from DC. I worked at the Washington Post, and these people absolutely hated me. They said I was from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And I could not convince them. And it turned out they weren't from Washington. Okay. Right. They weren't from Washington. And my parents were born in Washington. And I had family in the 1870 census in Washington. And these people who are from Virginia or somewhere else were telling me I wasn't from here. And the thing that was really crazy, I was trying to let them know I get what's going on, but said, oh, you talk like you're white. So I showed them my family tree, one of my family tree things, and one of my ancestors that was born in 1761. He had an African name, which was Sambo. I showed that to this self-hating, process-haired asshole woman, and she began crying and cursing me, saying I had made that up to insult them.
I know.
I was like, oh my God, that's what you got out of this? And so when we talk about people being Pan-Africanists, a lot of our folks, like I had a cousin who said he was progressive. And I told him, you don't know what a damn progressive is. Have you ever looked up what the word was? We don't dig deep. We don't, probably that's why a lot of people in the bussy, because they don't want to dig deep. Okay, it's sad. I should lead them with a joke. Can I tell them a joke, y'all?
Yeah.
Can I tell them an ignorant joke? Okay, y'all. I want to do a Kamala joke. I always like messing with Kamala, and I think you don't know this, Jackson, but I think you already know, California. What does
Yeah.
Kamala Harris have in common with the shotgun?
Don't know.
2 easily loaded barrels. And Kamala Harris is going to court to sue 2 people. Why would she want? What would the grounds be for Kamala Harris to sue Santa Claus and the Jolly Green Giant?
Don't know.
Defamation. So she has a cease and desist order. She's tired of them saying ho ho ho.
You know, it was funny.
By the way, let me ask you, Trump. How do you feel about Trump when you're down south? South. How are the people reacting? Are they ready to pick cotton again? And is Donald Trump going to make everybody slaves?
Well, I'm gonna tell you one of my funny Trump stories. I was in Kentucky one time, and I was at a luncheon with some brothers and sisters, and they were talking about Trump. What do you feel about Trump? And I said, I like him. What do you mean you like him? I said, let me tell you this. When I moved south, everybody said they hated New Yorkers because New Yorkers were arrogant, and you're a New Yorker, you're this, you need to go back where you came from, so and so. I said, okay, that's no problem. I said, now, I grew up with the Donald Trumps. And I said, Donald Trump is a quintessential New Yorker. But you hate me, but love him. I don't understand. If anybody is New York, it's Donald Trump. So how you going to hate me and love him for being from New York? So now here, people that ain't nobody sweating anything down here.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody sweating anything. There was no big. One of the things I didn't like what they were trying to push, they said, well, if Kamala loses, it's because of black men. I said, I never heard of black men in voting. You never mentioned black men voting in any of the elections.
Not at all. Not in my lifetime have they talked about black men voting.
No,
until this election.
Because of black men who don't, and they say because in the barbershops. I said, wait a minute. Black folks don't go to. If you in the barbershop, and this is how I know some of these folks are phony. If you go into a barbershop, there's only 2 to 3 subjects you can talk on. Sports. You can talk on sports, money, and getting laid. There ain't no talk of no politics in no barbershop.
No. And you know what? And I can tell if a man's kids are in jail or doing poorly in school by how well they know the sports statistics. You know, a black man has a fucked up home life when he knows about the achievement of all of these sports stars. And you ask him, what grade are your kids in? Have you seen their report card? Black men, that's the one thing I loved about COVID, was it shut down professional sports. The fantasy escape world of dumb fuck black men for a short period of time was slammed shut. I loved it. That they couldn't watch and escape and pretend because you know about what's going on in the NFL or NBA or national baseball. You had to find something else to do than to hide in sports. I'm not trashing it, but it's a damn game in which the other communities get all the damn money. You're basically a fucking racehorse. Man, he's got his own pair of shoes, and his kids don't have a damn pair of shoes. I mean, well, he's going to get through college, and you're not even paying attention whether your kids can read. I'm so sick of the black male sports cult. In fact, if we do have another epidemic, I hope the first thing they do is shut down all the sports stuff. That's almost as much as I enjoyed seeing a lot of the churches closed, little crooked ass lying preachers that won't stand up for the people, that just collect their money and rook them screw them, molest their kids, and act like they represent God. I enjoyed seeing some of those niggas being driven out of business. I felt the same way about some of these crooked ass preachers, like I do a crack house being knocked down in the neighborhood. I just had to get that off my chest.
But it's the thing, like, because you say, oh, if you want to hear what black men think, go to the barber shop. No,
Well, the black men aren't thinking in a barber shop. You got people trying to sell you, man, I got some Gorilla condoms here. Man, you could, you could fire Uzi and these things won't break. I mean, it's such a negative experience going to certain barber shops. It's really, really, really negative. And a lot of the people with barbershops are ex-convicts. And if you're not like a thug and you don't have like tattoos on your eyeballs and so forth, you don't feel like you're welcome there.
You're not.
So to me, I've got to find a barbershop that's not loaded full of self-destructive black men that are trying to be stereotypes. And they play the damn sports stuff too loud, or they're playing awful music. You know, a lot of barbers, they need to up their game, which, and if they don't, the Dominicans and everybody else is going to put them out of business. You know, we could do better. You know, I kind of see, you need to do business like I wipe my ass. I use paper and wipes. I want to make certain the shit's clean. I want to make certain it's top flight. I don't have to run back in picking and shit. That I did a good job. A lot of times we simply do shit like a slave. I just got through it. I have a business. Come and buy from me because I'm black. Not because I have the best thing, but because I don't look like the next person. That's like a woman saying, fuck me because I don't look like someone over there. Instead of, this is what's wonderful and special about me if you choose me. We need to up our game with each other and everything else. You know, I'll tell you one thing about famous Amos. He was an asinine man, and the cookies were small as shit. But he was a master of self-promotion. That's what he was able to do. There are a whole bunch of niggas out there making cookies, but he knew how to make, and he run around with watermelons to make white people love him. He was smart. You have to do more than, right? Brush and floss, wash and put on deodorant, go into business and then franchise, add. Don't just do one step. I would always say to my students, God gave you 2 eyelashes, 2 eyeballs, 2 nostrils, 2 lips, 2 jaws, and 2 nuts so you could do more than one thing. I would always say this to the athletes, because damn, all you do is play football. And you're like Lane College, nigga. You're not in the NCAA champions and shit. So you're on a team that doesn't win at a school that's not going anywhere, and your hope is in football? And they talked about Jacoby. His ass just died. This, grow the fuck up, people. And by the way, these new illegals that are hungry and shit, those that they don't drive out, will be 10 times more determined to make it over your carcasses to get somewhere here. It's the competition will be steep, and the competition is not against someone just like you. America has 200 to 300 different ethnic groups here. That's the competition, not your brother, your sister. And sisters, you'll never be greater or higher than your man. White women are high on the horse because white men are high on the horse. If black men are low on the horse and they make you think you're high on the horse, just wait until they fire Whoopi and they get rid of, what's her name? Boy Reed, the one that looks like Don Cheadle as a trans. They're about to take down a whole bunch of sisters that they've used to inflate heads for this damn leftist Marxist bullshit. And people need to understand the whole leftist Marxist thing that black people get pulled into. They think the leftists want you. They do. The Marxist leftists need a revolutionary vanguard which will bring about the new society. But part of the revolutionary vanguard in the new society is revolutionary Holocaust, meaning for each society to become Marxist Leninist, they need to kill at least 10% of the population for the society to be recreated. Who's about 10% of the population in this country? Get a goddamn clue, lazy ass thinking people. We're in the crosshairs of being eliminated if we don't learn how to think. I want to thank you, Brother Ray. I want to thank you, my sister in California. This is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. I thank everybody,
What part of California?
all the moderators. Oh, well, we can talk. I'm about to sign off. Y'all can talk, but
Okay.
I'm trying to keep them secret.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
we absolutely will do more of these. So, how did y'all like my boomer? You can send comments, and I'll let him talk more when we have more structure.
Really, I'm just straight.
I like it because my mom was a boomer. My mom just passed, so.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
And she was a boomer. My grandmother was silent generation. And we all lived together. So I got two different generations that raised me, and I'm Gen X.
Okay.
So
we need to do this again. I'm going to get another boomer, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I want to thank all my moderators, Brother Mark, Sister Devin, all the people protecting us from folks who could find another platform. There are places for white supremacists, like almost all the red parts of America will take you. But absolutely, please do not think I'm not here to be a bridge builder to white supremacists or morons. If you hate black people, take your ass somewhere else. If you're black and you hate yourself, I don't want you either. If you're in the boule, you're a traitor, and you're lucky that black folk haven't woke up. Nonviolent people like me who you can't stand today might be the only people to keep folk from stringing you up, which you richly deserve. I want to wish you all MFM, which stands for reparations, motherfucking money. We need it. We owed it. It is a debt that must be paid. May the good Lord bless and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace. I am hoping that we finally got through all this crazy health stuff that has made doing books difficult. And we will be doing conversations and readings again. I want to do it. Trust me, it's not me blowing it off. It's sort of like almost not being here and learning how to like stay alive. So I have to take care of me. But the minute I got me good, we're back at this. I want to thank Brother Mizell and all the other people. And I'm going to stop here, and maybe I could do more of these. I like doing these. Oh my God, I'm so tired of the signal. So I can't wait until my Ryuko comes. You guys know that you can always dash me. I need a contribution or two. My God. So yes, $ Dr. Randy Short for Cash App. PayPal and Zelle is wrandyshort@gmail.com as well. That's my personal email. My Patreon is Dr. Randy Short. My Venmo is Dr. Randy Short. And you may write and contact me. I talked about a couple of books tonight, Hepcats and Narcs. If you can't find that, if there's anything I mentioned that you have a question about, and we can't interact with the limitations of this platform, you can always write me. I do write and send and share. And if you can get a PDF of those books, let me know. I will share them with others. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm trying to prioritize health. But then again, if I'm good, then I can be good to other people. So much love to you. Much love to everybody. No, I'm not a boomer. Boomer ends in 1964. This person doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Boomers. No, you're right. The person called me a boomer. I'm sorry, Owen. I thought someone's calling me a boomer. I am not a boomer. 1965 was the year they decided to crush black young people. Boomers on the other side. So I'm a very old Xer, but This brother and I are worlds apart, even though we're just about what, 10, 13 years? No, 12.
Yeah.
We're 13 years difference. It's a hell of a difference. Okay. This brother can remember when black people couldn't go to school with white people. And I started going to school with white people that didn't want you there. It's two different perspectives of not being able to go and folks killing you for going. It's, so we'll see it very differently. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Let me.
Oh, and I want to say, the person who said I didn't sound like I'm from New York, please send me a New York tape so I can sound more New York.
Oh no, I cut that. No, that they gone. That was the same person that's trying to tell me about what's his name, the gentleman that wrote for Elvis Presley, and he said he wrote all the Elvis Presley. He said Elvis Presley had like 100 top 40, over 140, over 100 top 40 hits. There's no way one person could write all of that and all of his big hits. He didn't write. I like Elvis Presley. He didn't write "I got a holler burn, hunker burning love, hunker burning love." Fill my heart with desire, with the burning love. He didn't write that. He didn't write In the Ghetto. He didn't write a range of things. So he wrote some. A lot of times black folks overreach. We don't need to exaggerate to be great. If we can just get attribution for what we have and have done and will do and are doing, that's enough. I don't need to take what anybody else has.
Yeah.
Because no matter
and
who.
let me tell you something about Elvis. I was telling the young man, he was talking about Elvis tried to steal Dolly Parton's stuff. I said, how? He said, well, he asked Dolly Parton, he wanted to do a song, and Dolly Parton wouldn't sell it to him. And I said, that's not stealing. And I said, it's a story.
Let me tell you, Elvis Presley was supposed to have done the song, "And I will always love you. I will always love you." Yeah, he was supposed to do it, and he didn't. Whitney Houston sang it. And I'm so glad Whitney did it instead of Elvis Presley. Can you imagine? If I should stay here,
You know what Dolly said?
I would only be in the way. Oh, well, goodbye. I need to snort some cocaine. Oh, I've seen your love. And it would be a hit, but he couldn't kill it like Whitney Houston. And what would happen is if Elvis had sung it, they would have said Whitney just copied Elvis Presley. So I'm glad he didn't do it. She killed that song. That's one of the greatest. I don't care who gets the song at number one for 20 weeks or whatever they want to manipulate. That is like the greatest love song that's come out in the last 30 years. I don't care what no one says. In fact, it's been about 30 years. There's no song 40 years. That's one of the best songs in 40 years. I mean, I think it's better than Endless Love.
Randy, let me ask you this. How many people are listening to this?
Right now, we've got 80 some odd people. But on just one feed alone, if I could tell you, we had 350 people on one. Different people watched in various periods of time. So when I close this, I'll be able to tell you. Let me stop this feed. Good night on this wall here. Hold on, I'll tell you what's over here. Yes, I want to end. And I'll tell you what's this. That's 348 over there. 68 on that channel. And if I close this one, it's probably going to be several hundred. So 68 and 348 is 400 something. And I guess over here where the numbers are much higher, and it would have been bigger if I could have gotten StreamYard, which is why I paid for Ryuko. I went ahead and paid for it. California, it's like $200 I didn't want to spend. But it's frustrating every time you try to do this, and this you can't get a signal. So everybody, we're going to do this again. I'm going to stop here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey,
Derek
thank you all
Rivera
for
and all that.
indulging me.
Yep.
Thank you for indulging me. I haven't talked to this many people since I retired.
Well, no, you look, if you want to do a boomer thing, we can have a boomer show. I'm open to that. I need to get back to it. Now, let me see what was on this thing as I close it.